Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Beagle. It's just going to solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately comes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Good evening, everyone. It may be a new season of Overwatch 2, but it's still the same old CGL Saturday Night Overwatch that you love. My name is Sam Tonks. I'm going to be your host for the evening. Joining me, of course, we have for week number 5 of CGL SNO Season 14, Spectreon, Joker, and 2 Tryhard Ray. Guys, it has been a really freaking long time since I've been on the desk. It's been like 3 weeks, and I've missed this lovable bunch of goose. Spectreon, we'll start with yourself. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good. Getting late at night, but looking forward to the match today. I'm still feeling a little bit down, if I'm not entirely honest, about the patch. We could have had a fun meta, but instead, Orisa is still the closest thing to God on this planet. But other than that, I'm kind of chilling.
Yeah, you're kind of chilling. You're enjoying the new science. It may be a little familiar and a little painful, but at least you're chilling. You're having a good time. And I definitely feel for you for how late it is over there. Joker, it's also been a while since you've been on the desk. How have you been, buddy?
Pretty good. The Yankees are doing pretty well, you know. One game away from the World Series. But
Can you put that in Overwatch terms?
I don't know. Someone's one map of grand finals going to grand finals, I guess.
I'll take it.
Yeah, but I'm excited. Sombra not playable anymore. Swag.
I heard.
So
I heard.
We'll see how. I've seen a lot of organizations banning Sombra for like 2 weeks because of how bad Sombra is now.
Is that going to be enough time?
So we'll see how this goes today.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Ray, it's season 13. We've already gotten 2 very interesting takes about what's going on with it so far. So first of all, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Glad to have you back. You know, I did my best while you were gone, but I am no you, so glad to have you back hosting the desk. Regarding the season, it's Juno's still OP. It's ridiculous. It feels like they're not even trying that hard. Like, oh, let's just adjust the numbers a little bit. It's like, she was way too good. You need to do a little bit more than that. But I mean, I digress.
Yeah, okay, we've gotten the hot takes out of the way for how the season 13 patch coming out has been affecting the game at large. But we also should talk a little bit about the mid-season that just happened here for CGL. Joker, a lot of things happened, a lot of explosions, and a lot of excitement.
Yeah, a lot of teams won. I wasn't really around, so I don't really know what happened. But I do know, I think Nightmare Rotation won this division that we're casting today.
Open tier.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like they were probably one of the strongest teams going in for the open tier, and well, they showed themselves out, even if they are a bunch of one tricks.
Oh, if that's painful, Ray. Going off of that train of thought, anything to add?
It's not really painful. They literally admit it in their open team sheet that they're a one trick. Like, they're like, we're just going to run Roadhog Junk Sim and we're just going to win. And they did. And it was absolutely crazy. They 3-0'd in their grand final. Like, that's how good they were on that crazy comp.
Spectreon, sometimes it's just the crazy things that work, right? And the next thing you know, you're mid-season grand champion.
Yeah, no, I mean, Nightmare Rotation have always been like a totally weird team. Let's be real here. The fact they could do it on
I like that.
so many different looks of being weird is what's even more impressive to me, considering, you know, we know on the benches they've even got like Bastion main who only plays Bastion and May. Like, they're not normal. They're not normally either. And realistically, there should be laws against
them PCs.
it. But until we update the legislature in the States, they will still be allowed to ruin our ranked games.
I think I drew comparisons to them being like SR Peak Check and those kinds of teams in EU.
SR Peak Check is like, it's just Cloudy doing his kind of silly, goofy thing. The worst they're going to do is play Reinhardt. Nightmare Rotation is actually like holding lobbies hostage. You know, they're at a tier above.
Yeah, I can't remember the team. I just remember there was a team who played like a bunch of wrecking junk rounds.
Vendetta, Clockwork Vendetta.
Clockwork Vendetta were a different weird team, but yeah, they're both up there.
Oh, well, all right. We've gotten a lot of thoughts so far for the mid-season, but now it's a new stage, a new us, a whole new world. Almost, Ray, right? We got a lot of teams that are excited, chomping at the bits. And in fact, when we talk about our matchup coming up here, it's gonna be interesting, right? We got a battle of the Titans per se.
Both teams coming into week number 5 undefeated. Neither of them did win the midseason. I know there were a few of them. I can't remember which ones, but some of them didn't enter because they had OWCS stuff going on. So some of them bowed out. So I don't know which ones did and which ones didn't. But neither of these teams did win the midseason madness, as we mentioned. The Nightmare Rotation did. So we're going to have to see how these teams, whether they lost in it and bounced back, or whether they're just coming off an extended break, how they're going to look coming into this new meta.
Yeah, Spectreon, a new meta. Some, like we've been saying, a lot of familiar sites, a lot of familiar territory here, but it's still having to adapt and work around what may be a little rusty.
I'm trying to think of what actually would change enough. You kind of lose some swap options, you gain some swap options, I think in DPS. Your backline becomes a little bit less viable, it's a bit less locked in, and, you know, as we were saying on the EU desk as well, I think a lot of one-trick teams have been finding a lot of success in this patch. For whatever reason, it just seems like it's a good economy for people to just do things which are totally out of left field, right? You know, just absolutely bamboozle your opponent. And also, as we mentioned as well, I think that's partially because, to be entirely honest, I think a lot of teams, not just Western teams, but teams in general, are pretty bad at Brig Juno. There's no two ways about it. There seems to be some sort of mind-blocking players making this backline work. But until we get past that, I think we are still going to see a lot of teams, like Franklin Phoenix, still find that same level of success just doing stuff which nobody can predict.
All I know is I'm staring at our next YouTube thumbnail.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm sorry, Ooh. Hey, go check out the CGL YouTube channel, everyone. You'll know what I'm talking about. Go watch all of the YouTube videos. Joker, so we have a lot of opinions so far. The meta is still in this flux field, and Ray and Spectreon have given us a little bit of an idea of what we're looking at, but I want to get your take on it as well.
Yeah. As long, I mean, we're gonna probably just see more Orisa, right? Like Spec said, Orisa's still God. So unfortunately, we're not gonna probably be seeing anything other than, well, I'd say we are not gonna see anything other than Orisa, but with Franklin Phoenix being another one-trick team, we're gonna be seeing whatever they really want to play. So yeah, you know, so we're probably gonna be seeing Reinhardt because that's what Glacier wants to play, and then. It's really just up to what Beagle Bus wants to run. If they want to mirror the Reinhardt, or are they going to stick with the Orisa and just kind of try to deal with that way?
Spectreon, you mentioned something before we went live about NA disgracing the honorable EU Reinhardt.
I mean, yeah. So obviously, the last game Franklin Phoenix played, they were one-tricking Reinhardt the entire time. It was pretty funny. I should clarify, just for my honor, I don't actually like Reinhardt very much. I think he's a really annoying hero. Ooh. But yeah, that's it's not a strat that we see as much in NA. It's kind of more of a personality trait. But we have LH Proudy, who is Reinhardt, so you know. But no, it will be very interesting to see how it ends up playing out. Last time it was a lot of like hiding in corners and just some like truly crazy pins, like almost bumper tier Rein play. Whether it will continue or not, though, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of waiting and seeing, we have waited long enough. Now it is time to see our matchup for tonight. The NA, the North American Week 5 NA PC Open Tier. Of course, the schedule as well. Big Ballers versus Everfrog. It was an 0-3 affair. But tonight is going to be Franklin Phoenix versus Beagle Bus. Both of these teams undefeated. Both of these teams hungry for the first win in Stage 2. But someone is going to be getting their first loss for the week, and that's going to hurt, Spectreon.
Yeah, it will. Eventually, you've got to have your streak broken unless you're the absolute best. So we'll have to wait and see whether that comes today or whether even, you know, later on in the season, both these teams get their record dirtied. Going to have to really just see what happens, though. I mean, and as you said, that can really hurt. We'll see if that mental boomage even comes to affect them later on.
Exactly. And I mean, Ray, you've gone through all of this. You're in week 5 now. You have this whole new patch staring you down in the face. This is where kind of like champions are born, right?
Listen, real quick, I need to settle something with Spectra. You can't sit here and say NA is not going to honor the Rhine duel when we literally had a match earlier on EU today where the EU team refused to honor the Rhine duel and played Wrecking Ball.
Listen, my words have been misinterpreted. I'm not saying that the honor is brought by actually playing the Rhine. The honor is brought by not being terrible at Rhine. It's very different.
Oh.
Then I guess that EU team was just terrible at Rhine and had to play Wrecking Ball. So.
Yeah, it's a bull. Yeah, I mean, no one's winning that.
Ooh. Okay, this is getting a little spicy. So let's get some standings and see just how spicy things are looking as well coming into week number 5. Tanuki sitting at that nice top spot, got an extra game in before Franklin Phoenix and Beagle Bus, who are, of course, both undefeated, both 4-0, and will be joining Tanuki at that 5-0 spot. But, I mean, for the most part, you're still pretty comfortable where you're hanging out, right, Joker?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're 4-0. You're both 4-0 at the moment, and you're gonna probably overtake Tanuki for the first place seed if you win today, because you are only a map back in map differential. So I mean, hey, this is where you want to be, especially as we're going into the back half of the regular season, looking forward to those regular season playoffs.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback off that?
Go ahead.
Look at the standings. Look at the talent that is in this group in the open tier. Like, we have Tanuki, Franklin, and Phoenix who are undefeated, but YFP and Shikigami, who are also very well-known orgs, are sitting at 4th and 5th at 2-2. That just tells you the talent that's contained within this group alone.
It is kind of insane to see YFP, especially as someone who plays other video games where they have a massive presence inside of it. Yeah, this is for CGL so cool. And again, to reiterate Ray's point, the amount of talent, the level of skill, and the players on display, Spectreon, it's a work of art in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'd love to see this, continue to grow even through next seasons. I think on the other side of the pond we don't have as many orgs, but we'd love to see that continue. Obviously, though, the level of competition just rising and rising. I mean, a rising tide really will lift all ships and just make the overall tournament, the Overwatch space as well, just much more healthy.
Absolutely. Now, we have had a lot of fun so far, but of course, there's sometimes things happen inside of the great game of Overwatch. You're not playing your best. You may be feeling a little low. The lights are going dim, and that's why we here at CGL have this amazing video series called Lowlights, hosted and narrated by none other than the GOAT, Leg Day himself. We have a small ad that we want to play for all of you.
Aw. How does the old cowboy deal with this one? Well, less well. Oh, there's for sleep. Here comes the beam, though. The beam will be helpful. Did you just drop off this freaking... Were you forced to use this self-destruct? Or did you just think, you know what? He's sleeping. He's an EP guy. I'll just drop this here. Does he get clear? Tries their best. Where are you going? What were you just trying to deflect off of this central pillar to avoid the Deadeye? Alright, boys. Oh, we just curve around because of all of the angled surfaces. I've made a boo-boo here.
We all have embarrassing moments, but Leg Day makes them just that much better. So make sure to go and check out the CGL Lowlights on the description that was given right in front of our faces. I mean, Joker, CGL Lowlights, that's like chef's kiss.
Yeah, that's funny. Also, it is edited by the one and only user Intel. Big fan of that guy. Big fan of that guy. But yeah, it's great stuff. I mean, again, we already shouted out the YouTube, but again, follow the CGL YouTube. There's a lot of cool stuff, and all the VODs are there as well.
Yeah, go learn a thing or two, or learn a thing or two not to do. Joker, you have a game for us now.
I do have a game for you.
We were supposed to do this at a certain point in the past, but now is the time to do it here. And I'm going to give the floor over to you, my friend, to tell us what exactly we're about to get into.
All right. It's Is that Overwatch character taller than? And it says right there, you know, there's a picture of Headrammer and a picture of Overwatch, an Overwatch character, and the other people need to guess who's taller. So,
Joker, before we go any further, though,
Uh-huh.
can we get a quick description, like quick description of who Headrammer is for those who may not know?
well, Headrammer,
That's
if
Headrammer.
you don't, if you don't know who Headrammer is and you're in CGL, I don't really know what you're doing first and foremost. He is the big boss of this all, and yeah. So I thought it would be funny to make fun of his height. All right.
Pissing off your boss is always a great way to progress your career.
He is he is vertically challenged.
Mhm.
Gravity working against him. So
He is
Joker,
a dwarf
take us,
from Middle Earth. Yes.
Joker, take us into it before we get fired. Before the
All right.
desk gets shut down. What is this?
The new sticker, baby. The new sticker that we have in CGL.
Good lord.
We have been blessed by.
All right.
Oh no!
All right.
Do we
the
get
first-
to know, hold on, I have a question for. Do we get to know his height, or do we,
Oh,
do we know
yeah.
Headrammer's height?
Headrammer's height is 5'6",
Okay.
and that
He's
is all
got
I
it.
tell you.
Okay, so,
So-
is this like a team? Is this a team effort, or are we doing this all like one by one?
All by one by one.
Okay, so I'll go first,
Yes.
and then Spectreon, then Ray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Headrammer's taller.
Okay. Back. What do you think?
I think it's fair to say Headrammer's taller.
Okay. And then Ray.
I agree. Headrammer is taller than Torbjorn.
All right. Let's see here.
4'7".
He's, yeah, 4'7". He's Torbjorn's 4'7". Yeah. All right.
Damn.
So everyone gets a point for that one. All right.
Packing some heat in a tiny package, though.
Of course.
All right.
It's
Next.
the best things that come in small packages.
Next one. Dreamer or Hanzo.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one. I'm gonna go Hanzo taller.
Okay. Spectreon.
I'm gonna say Hanzo taller.
Okay. Ray.
This is like, I'm gonna go Hanzo.
Well, you're all correct.
Yes,
Oh, but not by much. That's
I knew
2
it was
inches.
close. I
Damn,
knew
I
it
know he
was
was
close.
5'8".
Yeah.
Ah,
5'8".
listen. 2 inches. Anyways,
Makes
next.
a difference.
It makes a difference.
Somebody
Alright.
to say too much.
All right. Next one. Headrammer or May?
Ooh.
Sam.
Headrammer taller.
Okay. Spectreon.
May taller.
Okay. Ray.
May taller.
I might be.
Well, Mr. Sam Talks, you are correct.
Let's go, baby.
I wish he's 5'3". How big are those boots?
Yeah, I know,
That's
she's-
ridiculous.
She's sneaking something in there. She got some,
Exactly.
like, she got the pumps on. Yeah.
Those aren't even lifts. Those are full on like uppies. Like what?
Yeah. Joker, take us to the next one.
All right.
Who's up next?
Symmetra. Sam.
I'm actually gonna go Symmetra here.
Okay. Spectreon.
I'm saying Symmetra. I reckon Headrammer's just up to like her thigh.
Symmetra as well. I think Symmetra's taller.
Symmetra's taller. Okay, okay. You're right. Symmetra.
Oh my god. That was close.
That was close.
I'm actually shocked. I thought Symmetra would be a little bit taller than that.
Yeah, I thought she could be like you can tell me she's like 6'3", I believe you.
Yeah, I believe that too. It's
It's
her
the heels.
overwhelming aura.
And
Yeah,
that,
they
and the,
are pretty huge.
that and the heels, right? All right.
Mm.
Next one. Sombra.
Headrammer's taller.
Headrammer's taller.
Headrammer's taller.
For how hard it is to hit Sombra, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Sombra's taller.
Ray, that's a bold move, buddy.
It is a bold move, but did it pay off? It didn't.
Oh, it's so close.
Talk about playing with my heart, Joker.
All right,
He's having fun here.
we've got two more.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
It's actually one
Yeah.
of my favorite games so far. Mercy's taller.
okay.
Bar none.
Spectreon?
Yeah, I think Marcy's taller.
Bar none.
Well, in order to keep myself in the running, I'm gonna say Headrammer's taller.
You think Headrammer's taller? Oh, Ray. Unfortunate. Yep.
Yeah.
It's all Headraimer is getting inched on by the cat.
All right. All right.
That's a crazy thing to say.
This one's for it's between Sam and Spectron now. Let's see here. Last one. Diva out of mech.
Diva out of mech.
Yeah.
It would have been funny if it was Diva in mech, but okay.
I'll say Headrammer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Headrammer too.
You think Headrammer? Ray, what do you think?
I'm gonna say they're the same height.
Gosh, dang it, Ray. You're a smart guy. 5'6".
What the heck? That's a cheat question. That's insane. I've been
But Ray
tricked.
still got it.
I've been bamboozled. I've been swindled.
I am the grand champion. I figured out. I know height. I can see it. I can sense it with my height vision.
Oh my god. Hype vision is crazy.
I had a feeling you were gonna do something like that, Joker, and
For the last one too. Diva is. I think the real thing to talk about here is that Diva is 5'6", but she looks the same height as Sombra and Tracer.
Sombra has the widest stance known to man.
Yeah,
you've
that's
seen
true.
it. She's got like an equilateral triangle type going on. It's like, ooh.
He's also
insane.
In mech, yeah.
Well, all right. Congratulations to me for winning. I humbly accept the winning prize of nothing, but
I want to give props to Joker and Soav. Both of their games today on the desk were very fun.
They've been fun.
And very original as well.
Good job, gamers. Big props to you. Big brains over here. Big brains. We also need to talk about the big brains of both of our teams, Franklin Phoenix versus Beagle Bus. And we managed to catch a pre-recorded Franklin Phoenix interview. So let's get that spooled up. Now there for you all.
Alrighty, here we have Tyler from the side of Franklin Phoenix, one of their DPS players. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great tonight, thank you. And it's lovely that you have me on today because I'm thinking this will be a great game for us today. A little bit of intro for myself. I am Tyler. My IGN is DY993LER. I am from Franklin Phoenix. I am Deflex DPS for them.
Wow, the full formal intro. I haven't gotten somebody to do that yet. I appreciate that. Well, I mean, let's just get right into the meat and potatoes of it. Franklin Phoenix, how's the season been going so far?
It's actually going really well. We are winning all our games, and I think we're undefeated. You can check me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're undefeated in CGL right now.
I mean, hey, I'll take you at your word. You got it.
And so far, I think we're doing well as a team. It's definitely been a wild ride over the past few months as a team. As for me, I am a relatively newish player for Franklin Phoenix. I come from an organization called XP League, and so does Franklin Phoenix. But they found me through that organization, and they brought me onto their team. And as a new player, it's actually been a little bit scary to kind of converse with this new high caliber of play. It's all kind of still new to me, but I'm still having a lot of fun learning and playing at this high caliber. I'm loving it so far.
Hey, it's excellent. If you guys are winning, it's clearly working. Well, looking towards the match this evening, you got your opponents on the other side, Beagle Bus. A lot of people are fearing some names on that team. Did your team end up doing any sort of specific prep or anything for this match, or do you just, going in with your own game plan?
I think we're just going to go in with our own game plan. We're just going to practice how we scrim, play how we practice. I think that's the better saying. And do what we scrimmed before. We're mostly one comp-based team, but we run that comp really well.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, hey, listen, that one comp, it's been working for you so far. Let's hope that continues tonight. And we'll let the desk, figure that all out, pick that apart, and, they can take it away.
Big thank you to Franklin Phoenix for that interview, and of course, Megalast for taking on the mantle of being the interviewer. So, Spectreon, but it sounds, you know, for a person who's new, especially to the sort of caliber of play that we're going on here, fairly happy and fairly cheerful and excited about what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's hard to be too upset when you are still undefeated, you know?
Yeah.
I think as well, just, you know, glad to see the system still somewhat works. People still can rise to the top, and apparently pretty quick. So let's hope we see some, we'll have to see the success continue, I suppose, for the indefinite future.
It's kind of crazy, right, Joker, that a kind of meteoric rise like that hasn't crushed someone, or at the very least, they also seem very nice. And usually when people get that, you know, the ego going, things can get a little spicy.
Yeah, it's always good to see people not letting ego get their game at their head over a video game. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun though, seeing rises of people getting better, and I mean that's what competitive games are supposed to be about, right? But I digress.
Absolutely. And Ray, we are seeing this team undefeated. We're seeing a player who's very excited about taking on another undefeated team. This is I think, good insight into the mindset of what it takes to be a player at this level.
I think this matchup, as we'll be getting up the rosters here in a second, I mean, they even kind of admitted they are like a one-trick team. And Spectron mentioned, you know, Glacier loves his Reinhardt. The one thing we did see earlier when we had a Ryan one-trick team, their key to deal with the Wrecking Ball was to go Orisa. My question is, can they adapt? Like, yes, they can play Brawl, but I feel like in this meta, you got to be able to change your Brawl, whether you go Ramatra, whether you go Ryan, whether you go Orisa. You got to have that slight adaptational flexibility to be able to make things work given your different situations, and that's going to be the key to them still technically like one-tricking Brawl, but making it work for this series.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm also glad that you brought up the lineup. So let's jump into it and start with the Franklin Phoenix lineup. Of course, we just had them on the interview. By the way, no Beagle Bus interview. We have Dario, Tyler, Glacier, Spiff, and Pokey Mini-Me. That's a fun name. I like that name. Moving on
I do not envy the casters having to say that name.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just say Pokey, right? It's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or Mini-Me. Or me. Hey, me. Beagle Bus time. The Beagle Bus lineup is going to consist of NRG, Valentine, Dinks, Vobindo, and Ricky. That's crazy. They got NRG, the entire organization.
The entire org is fused into one person via like Dragon Ball fusion poses. Yeah. This is what happened. They all just got out there like their Winthrop match and just started just like getting like full Mesa Alchemists like chimered into each other.
Yeah, Beagle Buzz out here doing some dark magics to get the to get the org of NRG. So we've seen both of the lineups. We've seen everything that they have, and so the Joker, the big talk of the town between these two teams, between this matchup, is flexibility versus comfortability, right? The ability to adapt versus the rigidness to overwhelm your opponent.
Yeah, and I think Beagle Bus definitely have the opportunity to give us definitely a lot of different looks. They have a lot of different people on their roster here. And I know as well from many moons of CGL that these players are incredible at what they do. I don't know if still most of them are playing on console, but they used to play on console. They moved over to some of them moved over to PC and whatnot, and they're just very good at what they do. And it's very hard to keep them down. I believe they won. Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Short Bus won something last year, right?
I don't think they won PC, but they definitely won console, and this is just another iteration of that team. I mean, they're one of the mainstays in CGL, and everyone knows these names of these players.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ray, I mean, you kind of have to, right? When you're at the top of the top, when you're at the top of your game, when you're the best of the best, everyone looks to you for what they need to do to get to that level.
Yeah, I'm very excited because again, it's like a matchup between a team. I mean, Glacier's definitely been around CGL for a bit, has done a lot of our off-season tournaments. I can't remember what they did last season. They might have done last season. I can't remember for sure. But some of these players are. But as we saw in the interview, a lot of them are new, going against a team who's well established and been there, done that in CGL. So is that experience going to come true, or is it going to be more like, you know, the ignorance and just we're just going to do this. We know who we are and we're going to play and win. Like, is ignorance bliss, I guess, is the more of the saying.
Yeah, right, Spectreon. It's we know who we are versus we know what we could be.
That's one way of thinking about it, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's getting very philosophical almost here, and I'm not sure how much that actually gets into practice in the server, but you never know. Maybe the self-image plays a factor in how well you can execute on the Overwatch.
I know. I think I went a little touch too far for Overwatch. Maybe for NA Overwatch at the very least. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. We'll get into the matchup very soon. But of course, before we get into our game, before we see who is going to be taking home the prize, the victory, and the first loss of this season, we got to talk about some predictions. So, of course, we got to start with the desk. Good old me coming up first here. And this is actually, I think, the most split that we've been in the, I would say, probably entirety of the desk and between the casters. But I'm going to go with a 3-2 Franklin Phoenix victory over Beagle Bus. I think it's going to go all the way, and I think it's going to be that rigidity for Franklin Phoenix that's going to give them that win, especially in this new meta, or the new patch that we're in right now.
I mean, for me, I'm going to be real with you, making real predictions clearly hasn't been working out for me, so instead I went 3-0 Franklin Phoenix. My reasoning is that it probably would be funny.
Spectreon, I applaud your honesty, my friend. Thank you so much.
You're
taking
Soab's contractual obligation to make a crazy pick.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Joker, you're up next on the docket, my friend.
I can't bet against my goats, so I went with Beagle Bus 3-2. Gonna be a good game. Gonna be a close game, but Beagle Bus is gonna win it out in the end.
Well, two people on the desk so far, Ray, is saying that we're gonna be in for a long night. How about yourself, buddy?
Everyone knows I'm a short bus stan. I used to argue with a certain member of the desk about short bus being the best team, and I can't deny my alliances when it comes to that. No, I didn't argue with you about it because you agree with me. I went 3-2 with Beagle Bus in this case, the other iteration of short bus. I just think the experience that they have is going to shine through.
All right, we'll see if that's going to be possible here. But hey, a split desk. One of them is just kind of having fun with it right now, but it is 3-2 across the board. So we are in for a gigabanger of a matchup. If, I mean, any of us, 3 out of 4 of the desk is correct. So hopefully we'll see that happening.
Hopefully it's me. No.
Yeah, well, then it'd be you and Ray. Yeah, it'd be you and Ray.
I don't care.
We got casters. We got casters, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
Love to give us their opinions, especially Dexatron.
Yeah, Dex.
Yeah, that Dex guy right there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious what he's. I'm curious what he's thinking when it comes to the matchup that we have going on here. So let's start off with his prediction. It's a 3-1 Beagle Bus victory. But then on the flip side, Jesse is 3-1 Franklin Phoenix. So this is quite literally split straight down the middle.
Don't we have every pred but 3-0 Beagle Bus?
Yeah, it's pretty much every. we're all over the place.
I think it's kind of crazy. I think this is the first. Like a lot of games we see is very straightforward, and we always have someone kind of make a crazy pick like Soab just to save the desk and make sure someone predded the other team. This time it was just everyone was split. Like that almost never happens.
Yeah, we're in a scary world where nothing is known, right? Where everything is scary. And Spectreon, I've never felt so excited for a game in my life.
Yeah, it's going to be super, super informative no matter what happens, right? I think it's pretty clear that nobody really knows what's going to happen, but once we actually get into watching them, we'll have a better insight on exactly what's going to go down.
Oof, I can't wait. And the good news is we don't have to wait very much longer. Let's bring our casters up real quick and get some thoughts from them before we throw it over permanently for the big game. Dexatron, Jesse, Twin Salty. Hey, look at you guys. Look at you guys down there below. Dexatron, Jesse, you both are split across the board. The desk is split when it comes to our predictions. Dexatron, justify these reasonings.
I mean, I can tell you right now, Beagle Bus, like you guys have already mentioned, a lot of members from Short Bus there. They've been around CGL for a while, so it's mostly that reason for me. They are a solid team no matter who is on it, and we have seen every member of that team pop off at certain times. Franklin, on the other hand, a team I didn't really know about. Jesse did tell me a lot about them since he actually has a lot of information and knows most of the players on this team. So it was really interesting to learn about them, but I still have to go with the known factor here of Beagle Bus.
Jesse, give us, we got to get the dirt right now. What's going on over here?
Funny story, right? I worked with a youth league when I was in college. I have known Spiff, Dario, and Pokemini for a good 3 years. They were flat players at one point. So they have a lot of experience. Obviously, Glacier, I believe, has been in the team for about 2 years. Tyler, just a few months. It is very much a young gun team, and I think it's a really cool look. They got the Phoenix, very much on the younger side, new to this level of competition. You got Beagle Bus, like you guys said, a lot of the Short Bus core, just a new iteration of it. They've been around for a while. I think it'll be a really cool showing tonight of new school versus old school. And obviously, yeah, I got a little bit more personal knowledge on Phoenix. That's why I'm going that way. But part of me, I like fun. Glacier on Rhine, it's fun. We're gonna run with it.
Well, we've got the old versus new, the rigid versus flexible, the yes and the yes. Franklin Phoenix versus Beagle Bus. Casters, Dexatron, and Twin Salty, I'm going to leave this in your very capable hands.
Well, welcome everyone to the booth here. Like Sam said here, this is going to be a great series we have on our hands here tonight. And Jesse, I don't think they really understood what you meant by this is a young guns team. Everyone on this Franklin Phoenix team, not in college. The majority of them high schoolers for the most part. Some of them looking for those opportunities in collegiate here coming up next year or maybe a couple years after that. So a very, very exciting team to watch. But like they also said, and like I mentioned, this Beagle Bus team comprised of a lot of members of Short Bus. They've been around CGL. Their names are very well known. They are scary in their own right.
Yeah, it's extremely scary when you look at this roster because the experience that they have. They've been around the block for a while. They've made their deep run in playoffs. So we know what they can do, right? For them, it's more, hey, what can they do on the day-to-day? And how is this meta really looking for them? On the Phoenix side, like you said, all of these players are either sophomores, juniors, or seniors in high school. They are very much new to this level of competition. And I do think, yes, there could be a little bit of nerves that go into it for that side. But I do think with the comp that they have, right, this Rhine comp, it is very much, hey, pedal to the metal. We're going to int into your backline, get ready for it, and try and have a way to counter it. I want to see how Beagle Bus try and adapt to that because our map pool, I would say it's not like the most Rhine friendly, but I do think it leaves the door open for that kind of comp to kind of sneak in here and there. As we see it, Ilios, Hollywood, Throne of Anubis will be played no matter what. And then Coliseo, Dorado pushed to the side for now, if we go later on like a lot of us are predicting.
A lot of us, and if your name's not Spectreon.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that pick was just insane, to be honest. But, I mean, like you said, these first couple maps aren't necessarily Rhine maps. You can play Rhine at some points on Ilios and find value. Hollywood, you really don't play Rhine until maybe third point. And Throne of Anubis is kind of a toss-up because I have seen Rhine work very well. And I have also seen Rhine work terribly on that map. So it's going to be really, really fun to see how these teams play going in here. But, I mean, it looks like we're about to be loading in here. Any final thoughts on these two teams?
I think the team, especially going into this first map, I need to see which team sets the tone. Because if Beagle Bus can set the tone with whatever kind of comp they want to run, and it forces Franklin to adjust, I think that is a massive win for Beagle Bus, and they may be able to take that momentum throughout the rest of this series. If Franklin can get this Rhine comp, or we're presuming it's going to be the Rhine comp that comes out here from Franklin. If they can make that work, It's going to force Beagle Bus to maybe try some things out that they haven't really scrimmed a lot of, because right now it is a lot of Orisa everywhere because they really didn't get nerfed that much in the past. Then how do they try and move around it? Right now, though, they're kind of teasing this Wrecking Ball Flora Chaos comp that we've seen occasionally from 1-6 teams. So that may actually be a very awkward kind of competition here, because it is two styles that do not mesh very well.
Yeah, it really does. You watched you SNO broadcast earlier today. There was a one-trick ball team that really struggled to get going at all. They got swept in that one. Beagle Bus, though, I mean, we've talked about this team is full of people who have been around CGL for what could be described as years, multiple seasons. You see NRG already here, just pumping in those blocks, forcing Phoenix here. Play back at angles they really don't want to play in, and you already see Dinks there just spinning to win on that pylon. Almost gets booped off the map, or there has to use that pile drive down to keep themselves alive, but this is what you said here, this kind of chaos comp. The ball can play completely on its own while the rest of the team basically has free reign to do whatever they want.
Yeah, they can just go around, try and find the stragglers. Initially, it is Dario that gets booped away. But no, here we go. Backline gets forced out. Glacier is basically on their own, well, until they pin into the back.
And hey, Dario's going to be able to find them right there. Points not capped by either side just yet. Beagle Bus looking like they're going to try to at least get something here, but no. You're going to see Phoenix come back in and force them back. And honestly, without Dinks, they might just have to give up this point for free.
Yeah, they'll have to give up this point temporarily. There we go, but Spiff does die to NRG on the side. So that'll be the opening for a very quick recontest here for Beagle Bus.
Yeah, and here's the thing now for Franklin. They really cannot play outside the point, because you're seeing NRG right here just kind of hovering around, looking just to pump in as much damage as they can. Already firing the second pick there. The roll not going to be able to force Glacier off the map. They are definitely looking for it. That's the third time they've really attempted it. Finally, Bobendo will be able to shut down Glacier. Tyler falls as well, and Beagle Bus in control.
Retake control. This will be the cool dynamic, because right now, especially Dario, being on the Cassidy and not the Ash. Yes, it gives you a little more agency if you get rushed down by Dinks. But it also kind of leaves you a little bit more stranded in the fact that you don't necessarily have someone that can be dedicated to trying to take out NRG who already has that barrage built.
And you see the combo right there, the Bionate coming out, hitting on the Spiff. Dinks already finding one. NRG trying to do what they just do on this point. Just hang around the outside of it, looking to get as much damage as they possibly can on any stragglers here. Almost getting rid of Tyler. Glacier looking worse for where Valentine will find them there. And honestly, hey, Pokey does get the boop kill there. That's something, but still Beagle Bus rolling through at the moment.
Yeah, so far it has just been all Beagle Bus going into this map, because Franklin, like we said, whoever sets the tempo early is going to have that massive advantage. Like I said earlier, it's so hard because if they cap the point, they have to play inside the point, or they have to play in cage. It is one of the two. If not, you're leaving yourself wide open for NRG to try and capitalize. But their issue now is that they've been trying to get to the point.
Yeah, the Nano coming out here onto NRG. They have the barrage ready to go, and it comes out. They find one, but Pokey will come right back, taking care of them after they pop their own beat. The Mines, though, on the point. Going to force everyone from Franklin to go running away. Glacier does pop the Shatter. Going to be able to find Dinks, but Dinks going to be able to keep themselves alive here, finding Spiff in the process. Valentine just doing their best here on Tracer to find any remaining stragglers here for the Phoenix.
At this point, Tyler, you need to get out so you can try and stall later on, but this is a great stagger for Beagle Bus. They're able to isolate Glacier. They're not going to get here probably until almost the 99% mark, but that is at least an opening for Franklin. If they can just settle down for a sec, realize they don't have to push in right away, but still, with that orbital array from Vobendo, that could be the end of this round.
Yeah, and someone needs to get the touch. There's the touch there from Pokey, so overtime will commence, but there's that orbital ray you talked about. Pulse Bomb coming out, won't find anyone, but Dario will shut down Ricky here. Bobendo finds one, but will eventually lose their life. Tyler trying to do what they can to keep their team alive on this point. Almost getting rid of Valentine right there, just trying to trace them here, and they're going to be able to do just that, getting rid of the Tracer on the other side, and now it looks like Franklin Phoenix here are going to be able to retake the point, as NRG really can't 1v4 this.
Yeah, no, not recommended for the attempted 1v4, especially because it's not like we're at 99.70, 99.80. They got plenty of time to try and push back into this. It just sucks for them that, hey, Orbital Ray, it got 2 kills, but it just wasn't enough to get them over the finish line. And now that Dario is on the Ash, even though they are slept currently, at least has some sort of pressure to try and put on the energy. You can see, Pokey Minimi is almost playing bodyguard, so the ball can't try and get up there.
Hey, and then Ant-Man just immediately finding some value right there, but Energy going to be able to trade it out. However, immediately traded right back out there by Tyler. And now look, this is what you said, Franklin. They just need to kind of bunker down on point once they get control of it, because it really shuts down NRG from doing almost anything. But now you have Glacier kind of chasing after Dinks. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Franklin's won this engagement, but Beagle Bus now slowly starting to let this point slip away.
They're really looking at this, hey, it's okay if we lose that previous fight. Now we look at the ultimate economy, right? They're going to use minefields on point. If they want to, there's no real counter to it for Franklin. You have Nano online, you have Barrage online, and Pulse very soon. It's going to have to be a very big shatter. Well, that just takes away Dinks.
The pulse bomb coming out from Tyler as well, so 2 ultimates right there to get rid of 1. I think you'll take that, but honestly, if you're Franklin, you might be wanting that back here, especially when you look at Beagle Bus and their ult economy, having 4 ultimates coming in this next engagement, but at the moment, Beagle Bus needs to find someone to get a touch.
They need to make sure, whether it be Valentine or whoever, somebody needs to make sure they can get a touch. Now for Franklin, you did try and get that sound barrier up and active, but this is very much in the favor of Beagle Bus.
Dinks on point, does have those minefields, immediately gonna pop it right there. Glacier gonna just get out. They're still holding on to the point here, but Beagle Bus trying to do what they can. The Nano being thrown on the NRG again, not gonna be able to find anything with it there, but immediately finds 2 and turn it into 3 with the barrage. Beagle Bus gonna be able to take control of the point. Franklin, though, do they have any touchers here? You see Tyler trying to get there. They will get there, but they're gonna be punished by almost everyone on the side of Beagle Bus. And Beagle Bus, I mean, they almost let that one slip away, but that ult economy really helped them out at the end.
The ult economy that they slowly built up, yes, it is a giant risk, making sure that, hey, we're just going to put it all in one fight, especially because your Wrecking Ball just before gets shattered, gets taken out, and it's just even less time to try and work with. But that really was the benefit of them building it up. They were able to get those initial kills, and Franklin, the one ultimate they had to count on, was not able to go online due to Pokey dying relatively early in the fight. So now, as we go into the next round, will Beagle Bus be able to continue this? Because that, honestly, probably the most ball-friendly map for this. But now, we have not seen this in a while. Double Roadhog.
This has to be some,
respect
some handshake
it.
agreement. This has to be some
This
handshake
has to be a
agreement.
gentleman's agreement, right? Like, I respect it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you.
I did not expect this. But I guess if we're going to see it in any map, it's going to be Ilias well.
And you see both of the Hogs just trying to get right there. The hook coming out there from Glacier, not going to be able to land onto Dinks. Dinks still holding on to their hook, though. But at the moment, it's just a game of chicken. Glacier wanting to peek around that corner, but not there. Now you slowly see them starting to go after, kills here. But point is open, and still, it really looks like each team is either trying to find that off-angle pick or really hoping that the Hog hooks the other Hog into the hole.
Yeah, it is poked to the ultimate degree right now. Neither team want to make the first mistake. Neither Roadhog want to make the crucial mistake of getting hooked off into the well, but instead, Tyler just gets picked off normally first, and yeah, that'll be this first fight.
That'll be the first fight, and I would not be surprised if we see Glacier making the swap here. Like I said, I think it was a gentleman's agreement, but after one life and not really finding a lot of value for either of the Hogs, I would be getting off of it.
Yeah, and this is a stagger too. Pokey and Dario still alive by the lighthouse. They will eventually be taken out, and that is not as crucial of a stagger as it could be later in the round, but still some seconds that could matter later on. And it just feels like so far, Valentine has been really silencing Tyler, especially on the flanks. They've been winning the Tracer duels. You can see it right now, 95-60, the ultimate difference, and that could rear its ugly head for a moment as Valentine has that pulse bomb online.
They're immediately going to just blink into the backline right there, have to recall, even though they had a good chance to maybe take care of Ricky, but not going to try to risk it, especially with Valentine and NRG around the corner. Valentine did already invest the pulse bomb, not going to be able to find anything with it there, but still, Beagle Bus holding on to the point. Valentine, though, going to be able to shut down Tyler, and a huge anti-nade there onto the Glacier. Slept as well, but a nice hook from one of the Hogs finally will find one, but you do see them find a couple picks here. Plankton, though, investing the bomb early on here. Actually, they're capping the point.
They almost capped the point with that. I'm not sure if that's a swap. Actually, Dario finds one. Tyler finds the pulse on the Dinks, and that will allow Franklin to flip. But now it is both teams still trying to have members come back into the fight. That was very much deathmatchy, the feel of that. Not as much organized as we're used to seeing, but again, they love playing scrappy. We have teams that usually one tricks, whether it be the Wrecking Ball or the Reinhardt, and now they're playing into this and can get into a little more of that deathmatchy, hey, we're just going to take our 1v1s and that will be the feel of it. Both support ults online for both sides, though. I'm feeling we'll be seeing some orbital rays soon.
Nano coming out onto Dinks, gonna be able to find Glacier immediately. Orbital Ray out from Spiff, not gonna be able to help keep their hog alive. Spiff, though, will shut down NRG, who did have their barrage ready to go here, but Beaglebus finally starting to get the message right here. Probably should start going for a point. Kitsune Rush, though, coming out here from Franklin just to try to shut that down, and it does do a good job of doing just that. Shutting down the point cap, they find Dinks, and they find Vobendo as well. Valentine trying to do their damnedest here to just keep this point alive, but it looks like Franklin's gonna be able to just sustain throughout this fight.
It's weird to say stabilized because that fight never felt stable by any means, but they are able to lock it down, and the swap finally comes through. It will be Dinks hopping off, going on to the Diva for a lot more denial of what Glacier's trying to do. I got a feeling the whole hog will be used and then another swap following that.
Yeah, I said, I'm surprised the hogs lasted this long here, but Tyler, I mean, talk about them here. They've been kind of stepping up on this Tracer here, especially against Valentine, who was always seeming to find the upper hand on that first point. Tyler's now starting to start to find the upper hand on this point as well. And hey, look at this, Phoenix even taking the lead.
Yeah, Phoenix take the lead. Barrage has not been able to be used by NRG. It has been a complete shutdown on the positioning, but they need to find value out of it, and they need to use it relatively soon.
Yeah, they've been holding on to it for a while. That was one of the first ultimates that was actually built up, but Dinks knocked Glacier into the pit. Okay, I guess we're playing 12 hogs, one hole in a much different way right there, but they're going to still be able to find it. However, we are in overtime. Dinks finding Pokey out. That will force the swap here, but Dinks finding a third. So if you're Glacier, I would consider maybe swapping here.
I wonder if they're just too committed at this point because they have the whole hog. Yes, it's not going to do a whole lot unless Dinks is nowhere near you or you're able to get Dinks out of mech relatively quickly, but that is a massive risk to take. Both DPS ults online as well as the tank ults. I wonder if Vobendo, if they can build up this orbital ray, that could be the difference maker here to seal map 1, but the barrage gets nothing.
Pulse Bomb coming out as well. We'll find Dario, but Dario able to get the Bob out onto point, just being the thing that's actually stalling it at the moment. Glacier Hulk hog out from them right now, slowly starting to cap it up a little bit. Oh, Tyler slept in the backline and then put to sleep for good. The Orbital Ray now coming out from Vobendo as they want to end it here, and now a huge Bionade on the Glacier. They look for the touch, gonna be able to get it, but they will lose their life in the process. Kitsune Rush coming out here from Pogi just to try to keep any hope in this map alive, but you're starting to see everything come out from Beaglebus, the Nano, thrown on the Dinks to seal the deal, the bomb, the icing on top of the cake right there. Beaglebus winning a very scrappy and very odd first map.
Probably one of the weirdest maps we've had in a long time, especially an opening map here for SNO, but they're able to lock it down 2-0 in 2 highly contested rounds. And NRG, yes, I will say they were kind of silenced for the middle part of this round, but they did come up and a lot of damage from that barrage, even though it didn't accumulate to any kills for them. It was able to help Dinks finish off the kills later on. That boob was great onto Dinks, but it didn't really matter in the long scheme of things. But now we look into this, right? We're looking at this like, hey, what are the maps we're going to go to later? What are we looking into? And the fact that we're not necessarily going to another traditional rush map. We're going over to Hollywood, I believe, next. And the ride ain't really going to work at certain times of that map unless you get really creative. And necessarily the Wrecking Ball can also be awkward, except for Streets phase. So I wonder, what's the compromise here for both of these teams? Because I doubt we're, as fun as the Roadhog was, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of that the rest of the series. So I want to see the adaptations from both teams. As you can see, the KDs, yeah, definitely in favor of the bus.
Yeah, and I mean, you start to see a little bit of difference there. Tank, you can easily see a little bit there, 6 to 9. So Dinks just being able to stay alive a little bit longer. And I mean, you could tell who the targets were for Short Bus. They were definitely trying to focus in on that backline. Spiff, it seemed like in that first map, or first point specifically, they were always the first one to be caught out, whether it be, I think it was the first 3 fights. They were the first one out of it here. But I mean, we talked about that tank battle here, and we can pull up the stats for it as well, and you can start to see the difference just between the two here in a moment. I mean, they both did good, but Dinks, like I said, able to stay alive a little bit longer, was able just to pull themselves away in every stat that really mattered here. Damage, elims, and final blows, almost having triple the amount of elims.
Yeah, that is insane when you think about it. And Dinks, they just love being the Chaos Agent, right? Whether it be the Wrecking Ball and the Roadhog, or even the D.Va, they love just running around creating opportunities for the rest of their teammates to capitalize on. But even especially once they swapped onto the D.Va, getting those kills themselves, they got a lot of final blows when we got into the second half of Well. And I think, honestly, depending on, how this team is feeling later on, we could see more of the D.Va. That could be the compromise they find on Hollywood, because especially Streets phase, very vertical, right? You're not going to be able to stay on that low ground for super long. You're going to need to challenge for that high ground. Even third phase, not as much, but first phase, challenging those two high grounds as you're on the offense, that can be a real struggle sometimes. If you have that D.Va in play, that could help Beagle Bus continue that momentum going on. But I want to see it be continuous, because we also saw some fights that, they looked good, and then I don't know if it was a miscommunication or something, but they got a little scrappy.
Yeah, and it could definitely be kind of drawn back to it seemed like there's that handshake agreement to both play hog on Well. And I mean, you could tell each team was not trying to make the first mistake, because once one person died from whatever team it was, that team probably knew they were going to lose the fight. And I mean, it lasted a lot longer than I would think something like that would on Well. But hey, give credit to both teams for at least knowing where to position themselves there. But going back to what you were talking about, just the verticality here, especially on the first 2 points of Hollywood. I mean, it's why you see a lot of dive ran it, maybe even a little bit of poke as well. Ryan, not necessarily known for Hollywood up until the third point. So if Franklin Phoenix makes it to that third point, I think they could bring the Ryan right back out and probably dominate it. But it's those first 2 points, the first point cap and then the first push. You have to figure out how to get through those phases of this map to give yourself a good chance to complete the map fully.
If Franklin somehow, some way can actually full cap this, just running this comp with, I don't know how they're going to try and usher, Glacier around on this Reinhardt, I'd be thoroughly impressed, because it is incredibly hard to finish the map normally, especially when you're on this kind of comp. But we won't have to worry about that quite yet. They will be on the defense first. Nothing really new here. Going to be running the Lucio Bap variant of the Ryan comp with Dario on the Ashe. So this is, again, this is not a shock whatsoever to see this. For Beagle Bus, it's more depending on how exactly they want to actually roll out on this. The Orisa is kind of a no-brainer unless you want to go full dive. The Orisa, even though they oddly did not get touched during the new season patch, they have been at the top of the meta 24/7. So it'll be really interesting to see how much they try and punish Glacier in that front line.
I was going to say, everything about this comp that Beagle Bus is running would just scream that they're going to make the swap here late to something else, but no, they're actually going to stick with it. Like you kind of said, the rest of Beagle Bus comp kind of does lean towards those dive kind of heroes that you would normally see on a map like this, but I mean, you mentioned it. Orisa's been at the top of the meta now for what has been a little bit. A lot of people kind of tired of the battle cattle at the moment. I'm not. Personally, I really like Orisa, but I understand why there's a lot of people who dislike her, and I do feel like she should have been changed in this last patch. It just was weird that she wasn't, but you already see Beagle Bus here rotating to the high ground and forcing Glacier back. Oh.
Yeah, and they are able to get the pick off on Dario, who was getting a lot of dynamite damage in during that rotate. So that could be the open door, especially if Tyler gets punished.
They're going to be able to recall to keep themselves alive here, but a huge anti-nade again thrown on the 2 members of Franklin. Not going to die just yet as they backed out, but they might have to sacrifice a single tick here before they come back out and re-engage.
Yeah, they're going to give up 1, maybe even 2 ticks here to try and get Dario back into this fight. Especially, they're having to deal with dinks in their face in the cafe. Now, once that second tick is confirmed, there you go. Glacier already antied, and it's just more hesitation.
And I love what Dinks is doing here, just trying to bully them back a little bit. Tyler, though, will find Ricky in the backline, traded back out, though, but Dinks just trying to find a pick here of their own. The deflect kill by Valentine on the Tyler. NRG will find one, but again, kills being traded back and forth. The damage is being invested here by Spiv. This is how important this first point hold is to Franklin Phoenix. They understand with this comp, it's probably not the best on the other side, so trying to make sure that all they need to do is just cap this first point.
Yeah, they're holding as much as they can. They pop the window just to stall. And honestly, I respect it. Now they have the shatter if they need it. But definitely seems like Beagle Bus are way more comfortable in this comp. But Dinks, yeah, their back's on the ground.
Again, that's the second time they've solo shattered Dinks, and I do like the play, but honestly, even though Spiv's just kind of tearing through Beagle Bus at the moment, I would have held on to that for when the Orbital Ray came out from Bobendo. If you could knock down 3 or 4 people, you could really have that ultimate be a waste.
Yeah, maybe wanting to have that one back, especially because I don't even know if Beagle Bus were really trying to commit to that quite yet. They were kind of having that early posturing, like, hey, maybe we will, maybe we won't, but they weren't really in a position to actually capitalize on that yet. But Nade's already used. Nano goes out for the blade.
Into the old Nano Blade. You see it here very rarely, but it looks like it's already finding some value, but not going to find a lot. Bob now coming out from Dario here, just trying to keep themselves in this fight. The Orbital Ray out as well from Franklin, but the Terror Surge out from Dinks. Not going to find anyone just yet, but still Franklin Phoenix doing a good job, just kind of holding on to this here. They sleep right there on the Glacier. If they kept them asleep, might have been able to cap the point off of it, but it's a 1v5 situation right there. Glacier was not going to be long for this world. Dinks with the final 3 picks on that first point as Beagle Bus finally breaks through.
Finally able to break on through it, even without using the Orbital Ray or the Overclock. That is a massive win for them. And already, swaps will be coming out. Dario off of the Ashe. They will match the Sojourn from NRG. And the Orisa as well. And I wonder if that is like, hey, we're losing this frontline battle, which is, you can't do it. You cannot lose the frontline battle when you were on the Reinhardt. So maybe a little extra assistance for Glacier up front.
They're trying to get on that high ground to even things out with them, but Tyler did not follow their Rhine up. Actually, it looks like they're just going to try to play cart instead, and Spiff already fighting the person who was pushing the cart is a good start. Will force at least Dinks to come down to that low ground. Will find the pin on them, but Dinks, a lot of health. They're not going to die based off that. Glacier now in a little bit of a sticky situation. Orbital Ray coming out from Bobendo, but it looks like for the first part of this ultimate, Franklin's going to be able to back up, but now you see the rest of that ultimate come into play. They're trying to find what they can. The Shatter, though, it finds 3 right there, and you see Franklin Phoenix immediately clear the playing field. Energy, their overclock's not going to matter at all.
That is the kind of shatter we've been begging for this entire map so far. Actually get a few members down. I think Beagle Bus, like, hey, the wall went down. They think that Franklin is going to keep backing, and they can try and find that pick. Beagle Bus are not able to find it in the end. And Glacier, when backed in a corner, there's only one thing to do, and that's hit Q. You go in, hit the Shatter, and now a little bit of a change. Energy over to the Pharah. That's going to be a lot of pressure onto Spiff and Dario to try and cancel that out in the air, as well as Dinks, kind of matching the support line more with the Winston.
Nanoblade Part 2 immediately slices through the wall right there, trying to find any pick they can, but they're still very much struggling to get one. They finally get their one, but Dario will be able to shut them down. Tyler did invest the Blizzard into that one, but as you can tell, it's not really working out for them there as the rest of their team is slowly falling around them.
They tried to use it defensively, like we've seen honestly a lot during OWCS these last few weeks during Stage 4. Trying to use it to absorb that pressure. It's just the fact that Valentine, they still have the dash. So this went straight across, went for the backline, and was eventually able to find Spiff. So that was the good idea and concept, but the execution just wasn't quite there this time for the Phoenix. But Beagle Bus almost already have that Primal Rage after Dinks just made that swap last fight.
It shows you how much value he's really getting with this Winston, even like you said, after making a swap, a fight ago here. Overclock coming out from Dario. They try to get rid of NRG early, not going to be able to find the kill shot onto them. Now just focusing on anyone at the moment. Spiff, though, going to be able to shut down Valentine. And talk about Spiff here. They've been able to find a couple kills almost every fight, it seems, but now you see the Primal Rage come out from Dinks, immediately able to shut down Pokey and trying to force Dario back as well. They're going to be able to do just that. Glacier, though, on their own for the moment, shouldn't really stick around in this fight much longer.
No, I'm trying to push it like, hey, we can touch. I don't think they're going to be able to, though. They don't have the orbital array to try and push in with, but it looks like they're going to, and they actually find the Pharah.
And hey, you look at that time bank here, they need to kind of stay in this when the Shadow will come out, does shut down Valentine. And I think, yeah, like you said, it was very, very mean, but you got rid of Valentine. Look, it immediately translated into a kill on the Dings. Beagle Bus has to back up, and that time bank not in their favor.
No, they're not going to have time to fully recontest this with the rest of their team. Dinks and Valentine will not be here, and Vobendo's already off.
There's no touch. There's no touch.
Wow.
It was up to Vobendo, but a nice swing there by Glacier made sure Vobendo was not in time there. And I think if you're Franklin Phoenix, you got exactly what you were looking for there.
Oh, exactly. Honestly, I didn't even realize how low the time bank was at that point. If you're able to finish the fight like that, they only have, what, it was like 10, maybe seconds or so that they had to regroup. They weren't going to have their tank no matter what. Valentine had to swap off the Genji and on a Tracer to at least maybe have an attempt to get there on time. And just in the end, they weren't able to. The Orisa comp, there was times that it worked, but it took them a while to have it work. And then the Winston, they were never able to get enough pressure, enough kills onto the backline of Spiff, Pokey, Dario. Because partially, Glacier was all in their backline. You know, you're not used to that with the Reinhardt. Glacier is one of the few that can make that work, and I think it just created an awkward situation for Beagle Bus, where they weren't sure exactly how to approach it, because they want to be aggressive, but they're also getting pushed by a Ryan.
Yeah, and also there was in that highlights we had right there, I think the biggest play was Glacier actually hitting that 3-man shatter, because Beagle Bus was playing from the high ground. Franklin, though, decided to say, okay, we'll just play from cart. You guys have to come down to us. And they had Beagle Bus take the bait. It worked out perfectly for them, and it really set a tone for the final 2 minutes of that round for this team.
No, especially, like you said, that shatter is like, hey, we're going to strut this down. We're going to make them kind of reassess their choices here. And it worked. And now Beagle Bus going more of kind of like a poke variant of the Sarissa comp with Ricky on the Zen. I like the idea and concept if you can actually get enough value out of the Discord orb. But Tyler, this is not just an out-of-spawn TP. This is a rush your backline TP.
And this is exactly what I wanted to see. This is how you make the Rhine work on this. You have to have a sim. And look, you immediately find NRG. You force one of the supports, I believe, already back to that high ground. Yeah, it had to be Vobendo. Now, if you can get rid of Dinks, you might already have this first point in your favor, because Ricky's the only one there to heal them at the moment. But I mean, Franklin's not playing for point. They're trying to play for the fight win here, and it's not working out because you have players like Valentine who are merely able to find two, and it looks like they're going to be able to find a third with some help there from Ricky.
Yeah, they will be able to shut this down. A great pivot for Beagle Bus. Understand that they just need to relax. Franklin didn't put immediate point pressure. They are not going to get a tick out of this, and especially for how long that push took. It was almost over a minute off the clock already. It just wasn't worth it in the end. They're going to keep the sim for now. I think part of the issue as well, Tyler didn't get to build Beam at all. They got shut down immediately. And instead of, them being close to one of their ultimates, Valentine practically has Blade.
Yeah, and I mean, Tyler did actually swap over to a choice there for a moment, but looks like they wanted to try the TP play again, and instead of taking it this time, they faked it. And look what that did to Beagle Bus. It forced them back, and you see Glacier again playing Ryan like they're a dive hero here in the backline, immediately finding one. The Blade coming out from Valentine. Not going to be able to find anyone this time, so 3 blades, 1 kill so far. Not the best average with that one right there, but you see Franklin here finally starting to cap up this point a little bit. Down goes Dinks, down goes Ricky after the popping the Transcendence right there, and this should be point A going over to the Phoenix.
Yeah, point A gone. Just a little bit of a fake right there. Like, okay, they're gonna expect us to do this again. You send the TP, you fake it. But I think in the end, actually, Glacier turns around, actually takes the TP, and then just rushes the backline immediately. Beagle Bus were not expecting it. And look at this. Compared to the first map, already double the elims for Glacier and a third of the deaths.
Yeah, and look, they're trying to do exactly what Beagle Bus did last round, or just control that high ground, but Beagle Bus could just do the same thing that Franklin did last round and just play cart instead, and it looks like that's what Dinks is trying to do, but the majority of their team is still kind of back by the entrance to the soundstage here.
Yeah, Dario kind of gets left behind. NRG is able to find the pickoff, and like you said, this is exactly where Phoenix held on defense, and now Beagle Bus making themselves right at home underneath. And that shatter, that shatter go through the hay.
Yeah, that shadow went straight into hay bells right there. The orbital array coming up, and the Terror Surge out as well. TP gonna be able to get everyone out except Glacier, but Dinks, because they were standing still for so long, I mean, they were eventually gonna die. Tyler got that beam up to level 3, and now trying to get rid of the Tracer, but they get that health pack, the recall coming out as well. NRG starts to invest a lot of ultimates here. The Bob out, Dinks making the swap back over to the ball to try to maybe find that same success they found on the first point of Ilios.
Yeah, trying to find that same kind of success. Pokeminimi loses the duel of the Junos, and even though, Symbol is used, it's not really going to get a whole lot done. It will be Beagle Bus able to stabilize again, even though Spiff, even if it's their last breath, able to take out Ricky. And now we look at this, right? 3 minutes to go. Beagle Bus have now officially made that swap over to the Wrecking Ball that we saw them have a lot of success on over on Ilios Lighthouse. The question is, can they continue that as they already almost die? They do. Wow, Tyler, long-range sim shot. That could be the opening here for Franklin to try and get some positioning. And the Hog is back. The Hog, ironically, to try and punish Dinks, which forces Dinks to swap off the Wrecking Ball. They lose all that ult charge. and they will go over to the Diva.
And right now, you can see the difference right now. Only 40 meters away is Phoenix. They have 2 minutes to do it, but they are at a very, very tough point to push in the map.
Valentine jail? Oh my god.
Valentine did invest in Pulse Pop. They're not going to find anything. Vobendo, though, trying to find an early team fight win here. Going to be traded out, but Dinks and NRG with that Orbital Ray should be able to clean up this fight pretty easily. But again, you're seeing kills being traded back and forth here. Phoenix, though, down a lot of members here, and I don't think Glacier will be able to escape this one.
I got a feeling he won't. Yeah, especially when you got Discord Orb on you. Not a fun time. If you are any tank, honestly. So now, yes, they got a little closer. They're 20 meters away now, at least at the peak. Is there another change? Yes, Glacier goes over to the Zarya. So it's just this tank roulette that we go on and on and on. Each tank wanting to have the advantage over the other. And maybe, yes, you're going to have the self-destruct, at least for Dinks. You were able to build up that ultimate in one fight. But now, when you're in that disadvantage, can you still get the value?
I mean, I don't necessarily think they care about the disadvantage at the moment. I mean, the time bank is the thing that has to be watching out for here. Minute 15, Franklin Phoenix has to be worrying about that as well. But there goes your entire ult economy if you're Beagle Bus. I think if you're Dinks, I don't know if you got DMAC there or you were trying to throw that bomb a little bit forward. Damage is coming out here from Spiff, but everyone for the bus should be able to just play around corners right here, which is looking like what they're doing. Another Photon Barrier coming out from Tyler, and look what that does. Everyone from Franklin Phoenix going straight to the cart. 3 members on, and look, 6 meters, about 10 meters away at the moment. Someone has to touch. There's the touch coming out, but they immediately jump right back on the high ground. Bob out as well, trying to do what they can here. Kitsune Rush, there's the Deadeye. They're on the high ground.
Oh my god.
Off of it. Dinks, though, getting demeched. Bob has to find the value here, but Franklin Phoenix, we were questioning them coming to this map, running that Rhine comp, but they certainly proved us wrong.
They show a little bit of everything during that. The Zar comp is what gets it done. And I heard you ask about it. They did get demexed, trying to cross the bridge. Right as they were about to get over the bridge and onto the opposing high ground, they get demexed. And I also think the Transcendence was used to try and save them, to try and afford, hey, we don't need to use this right now. But instead, that was also late. So you 2 ults off the board that Beagle Bus definitely needed going into that fight. Franklin realized, they relaxed, and then they pushed in shortly after, and they even this series up.
And I mean, this Franklin Phoenix team, I'm just impressed by them a lot here. Like I said, didn't know a lot about them, learned that they're mostly high school players, and this is a team that's going up against some incredible players in CGL. And I mean, when you look back at their regular season record, 4-0, they have definitely proved that they are a team to be feared here. Didn't have the result they were looking for in the midseason tournament, but so far, it looks like they're starting to get their payback here a little bit.
Yeah, starting to get their groove back together, because like you said, they lost first round, 0-3 as the top seed during the midseason tournament. Obviously, maybe a reality check for this team. Like, hey, there's work to be done. That was unfortunate. Oh, I respect it, but that was... But you look at this. This is like almost if you flipped Ilios, right? 10 deaths for Dinks compared to 5 from Glacier. It was, honestly, it's been the battles of the tanks. Whichever frontline can set the tone has won the map so far, and that time around, it went to the Phoenix.
I mean, you could look at the tanks, but I want to stare at the DPS here for a second. Look at Dario and look at NRG. Those have mostly been the hit scan players. Dario quietly, completely quietly, had an incredible map. 23, 8, and 8 there, almost 13,000 damage. That's just a solid round there from the Cassidy. They did everything they needed them to do and more. Tyler, incorporating the sim there, like I said, that was the only way I thought that the Rhine would work on Hollywood, and it worked like a charm. Yeah, it took the second try, but hey, it still worked. And hey, we're going to focus in on that matchup I talked about right there with Dario and NRG. I mean, incredibly close all the way down the board. Dario just edging them out in damage, but you look at the elims, you look at the deaths. Even though NRG had 1 less death, Dario had 6 more kills.
Yeah, and that's honestly just what makes the difference sometimes. Like, yes, the hit scans are going to get targeted pretty heavily, right? Especially with the other flex DPS. Tyler and Valentine each respectively are actively going after the opposing hit scan because they want their teammate to have that advantage. And honestly, like when you look at the stats, yeah, it was relatively even across the board, except for eliminations, because I just felt like Phoenix, the longer the series went on, the map went on, excuse me, they got more coordinated. Even though, yes, there's still some moments where you can tell, hey, nerves hit them. they were able to be just a little more coordinated, and that's how you need to make this Reinhardt comp work. And they even showed us, hey, we can run the Zarya. The Roadhog able to, that was kind of like, hey, get off ball. That was literally the message there. But they showed, hey, we can run the Zarya, and we made it work in a map that's not necessarily a Zarya map either.
Yeah, I mean, we saw mostly Brawl comps there on a map that we went into heavily talking about Dive. And when Beagle Bus brought out Dive, it looked bad. I mean, it did not hold up well against the Brawl comp at all. So this Franklin Phoenix team really did show us a lot on that map. And like you said, they showed us some other tanks as well that they have in their hero pool. Because that was one question I even asked you coming into this series. Does the Rhyme player have any other tanks that they can, pull out and have and play reliably? And that question got answered for me, that map. But hey, with that being the end of map 2, we're going to throw it over to a quick break. But everyone, you are not going to want to miss the rest of this series. We will be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. And man, do we have a series on our hands here. That it might be one of the rarest statements to say with SNO this season. Normally, they've been 3 Overwatch so far, but hey, it is 1-1, and both these teams looking like they want this series to go the distance here. I mean, Jesse, we were talking about it during the break right there. The play coming out from both these teams and how well Franklin improved from map 1 to map 2 was notable.
Oh, extremely notable. And I think, especially on a map like that where it's very unconventional, like we hyped it up, like, oh, we're going to probably see some dive. I want to see both these teams kind of show us it. The only time we really saw it was from Beagle Bus a little bit on the attack. The Winston did not work. And then a little bit on the defense when they went Ball and Diva, and that really didn't work. So it's like, at this point, do you almost just have to stick the Orisa? But even the Orisa didn't work at times. Beagle Buzz are in a very awkward situation now because they haven't really found a comp outside of the Wrecking Ball comp that has worked. And as we get ready to go into map 3, Throne of Anubis, well, A, it's newer to everybody, so I think everybody's still trying to figure out how to play it. But Wrecking Ball is not great. Some of these points are very enclosed. It can be very difficult to, A, find grapple spots, but also try and find value with the boops, with the knockarounds. They're going to have to try and find something else that works. And honestly, it's an advantage to Franklin having it be more a rush-focused map.
Yeah, I like coming into it, I thought Rhine, like I said, you either find a Rhine that works incredibly well or doesn't work at all. But like I said, after Hollywood, I feel like Franklin has definitely showed us that they aren't just the Rhine one trick. Glacier can bring out other heroes. Zarya is a very interesting pick because right now a lot of people don't really consider her in the meta. I consider her, halfway there. You can see her come out, to kind of counter out something like a Devo that we saw Beagle Bus do, but you can't really come out of the gate with the Zarya. So I feel like we're still going to see Rhine from them because, again, it's their entire MO. It's what they like to run, but we saw a lot of other players for that Franklin Phoenix team really step up last game as well, where on the other side, I mean, some members of Beagle Bus were starting to really become a hindrance for their team. And we even talked about there when the stats were up 10 deaths for Dinks, which was the most in the lobby there. And especially with it being your tank, really did hurt the team.
It's uncharacteristic of Dinks. And I think it just shows like how much that adaptation actually went through for Franklin. They're like, hey, this guy cannot get the value he got on Ilios. We just cannot let that happen. And that adaptation did come through. I do think it also puts a little bit of extra pressure onto Ricky and Vobendo because they need to make sure their tank stays up. And they have the disadvantage of, hey, this is also a very aggressive support line for Franklin. It is hard to match that aggressiveness while also trying to make sure, hey, we need to keep everybody up. So it's a catch-22 here for Beagle Bus. But as we go into, this mode in Clash, A, it's still new. B, it almost seems like a hindrance to win first point, which is very odd to say. No matter what game you're talking about, it seems very weird to say, oh my God, it's almost better to lose first point. But teams can really counter off that second point and roll from there. I'm curious if either of these teams are just like, nah, we're gonna let them have it. I doubt we're gonna see that, but I wonder if that at least starts to creep around, especially as teams really start to learn how to focus point by point.
Yeah, and especially because it seems like a lot of the time, at least in CGL, it seems like whoever caps first point caps second point, and either tries very hard to cap third point or doesn't even try at all. They want to try to keep on fighting for that second to last point because they know how hard it is to cap point A or E. They don't want to try to go that far. They want to try to just stay in an area where they know they can win. But at the same time, just giving one team or that one team that you've already pushed to their backs against the wall a tick really does seem to turn around a team sometimes. It's just something to give them a little bit of momentum in a point where they were really didn't have anything, but it looks like we're finally heading in here. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what both teams come out with here, because like you said, I don't necessarily know if the ball comp is gonna find a lot of value here outside of maybe point C.
Yeah, outside of point C, it gets real interesting because high ground, especially on this one, is a massive factor on points B and D. So watch out, especially for the hit scans and the flex supports to try and sit up there. And especially if we're back onto rush comps, it's going to be extremely difficult for each team to try and pressure those positions. So I want to see how each of these teams try and focus that down. But hey, it's Clash. Anything can happen in Clash, right? We've seen that happen weeks and weeks before. Anything can happen. It's not a shock. Each team are running the rush. Phoenix with the Ryan comp, Beagle Bus. They obviously do not want to match the Ryan comp, so they're going to keep going with the Brig, Juno, and Orisa. But I want to see, how does the Mei go in here? Because it will be, at least as of now for Flex DPS, the Mei versus the assuming Tracer eventually here from Valentine.
I'm going to assume the Tracer as well, but if Valentine stayed on the sim here, you could get a level 3 beam incredibly quickly,
Genji.
but
Okay.
the Genji instead, I mean, Genji and Tracer have kind of been interchangeable here, which is something I haven't been able to see in a long time.
It's nice to see Genji back in the meta to a degree. Like, he's not overpowered by any stretch, but it is nice to see him get a little more playtime. Is that... Oh my god, they got... What?
Did they I want to see that in the replay, but I mean, look at what that does there. It forces Beagle Bus back completely, and Franklin, I mean, they should just get this first point for free, because I don't think Dink is going to come back in time, and no one from Beagle Bus is going to be dumb enough to try to contest, right?
No, that was one of the weirdest starts to this map I've ever seen. They get them off enough to where they fall off the map, but Glacier still hits the boost pad to get right back into the fight. That's Rhine Tech, like LH Cloudy Rhine Tech. That is disgusting.
Nice dynamite there by NRG, and I mean, they've been able to build up Bubs incredibly quickly here. Look, already 75% compared to the other side's DPS line, who doesn't even have a 75 combined. If they can land another huge dynamite, they might be able to get a Bob early on this fight. Hell, even just hitting a couple shots here, they'll have the Bob ready to go, but point D open. Dink's going to be able to find Spiff here early, so there goes the majority of your healing, and honestly, if you're Franklin Phoenix, if you lose Glacier, that might just be the point.
Valentine went on the flank, but also Tyler will get taken out as well in the trade, so little bit of a catch-22 situation, 3v4 in favor of Beagle Bus, and they have the positioning. There's no way really for Glacier to get healed up as well, so more than likely going to be a Beagle Bus here, but they beat?
They beat to keep Glacier alive. Bob coming out, but Spiff could be able to find one. Glacier, though, finally falls right there's the beat. Not going to be enough to save him right there. And honestly, if you're Franklin Phoenix, you are wanting that ultimate back.
Yeah, you want it back. Yes, you got Bob out for it, but yeah, you're going to be wanting that back, especially with the Blade at 24% to activation. Energy actually makes the swap. Realize the Ash, you're just getting ran over. You might as well have some sort of escape mechanism with the Sojourn and the power slide. So as we go back over to C, like you said, usually the team who wins C wins B or D, depending on what side they're pushing. But yeah, we're right back to square one.
Right back to the middle point of the map here. Franklin immediately taking the control of the point at first. Ant Majors, though, coming out, going to force back Beagle Bus here for a moment, allowing probably Franklin to get up around 25% as you do see a contest come out. But the rally and the orbital array coming out. Beagle Bus wants to try to win this point incredibly quickly. The Shatter comes out, only hits onto one. The Blizzard from Tyler going to be able to freeze three, but is there a follow-up here from Franklin Phoenix? No, there's not. The beat, I mean, the Blade from Valentine, again, it's just quiet. That's the fourth time they use it. They've only found one pick so far. Deadeye, though, from Dario, trying to find anyone they can. Nice ice block there to make sure they don't get knocked out of it. But Dink's able to fortify and keep themselves alive here. So ultimate's being invested by both sides, not leading to any kills so far.
Yeah, it was just the one on the Valentine when they tried to blade, but they're practically back into this fight. And we're back to the neutral. A lot of ults used, and like you said, not a whole lot to really say actually happened.
NRG is going to have the next ultimate up here, but Dario, just, you know, good old-fashioned shooting someone in the head. That's the easiest way to kill someone right there. You don't need any fancy-smancy ultimates. You're going to be able to find Valentine out here early on. You see Dinks just trying to keep this contest alive, but now there's an ultimate that's finding a kill. NRG shutting down Spiff, but Pokey immediately come back out with a beat of their own here. However, Dink's still alive on point, just can't die. NRG on the off angle, finding one, finding another one as well. Glacier trying to do their damnedest there, but gonna be shut down, and it looks like Beagle Bus with a 4K from Ricky, or from a 4K from NRG, gonna be able to take point C and give them the lead.
What a turnaround that was. NRG, they pop the overclock, and it's the first alternate fire shots that they're able to take out Spiff. Do they touch here? Oh, wow. We're still playing this.
They want to invest into this. I mean, they built up another Amp Matrix, the Orbital Ray, a Blizzard coming out. These didn't find any picks last time, but hey, Dink's already finding one with the Terrace, or with the Amp Matrix out as well. The Terrace is going to be able to shut down Pokey, so, I mean, Franklin came in, invested 2 ultimates, and ends up losing this fight. Yeah, they get 2 ultimates as well out from Beagle Bus, but still. I don't necessarily know if that was worth it.
I don't know either, especially with how close it was. And now for the beginning, at least, here of point B, you're not going to have either of your DPS. Pokey's going to have to go back and speed the rest of the team in. Beagle Bus has already solidified themselves on the high ground with Valentine being the one to at least starting this cap in a moment, but a huge disadvantage for Franklin Phoenix. They have to, I would say, ideally win this with one ult still to spare going into C if they can win it.
Yeah, they need something here, and they just need to find an early pick, because that's what really helped Beagle Bus last time, was the fact they found an early pick. Yeah, it came off an ultimate, but energy really came alive after it here. It looks like Valentine's going to be the sacrificial lamb here to try to get a point cap started. Going to be able to get above 50% here before you see Glacier kind of engage onto it. Valentine, though, get a dash off, allow Franklin Phoenix to get this point presence, but the Deadeye coming out has the opportunity to get it deflected right back at them, but you see everyone from Beagle Bus just playing behind that cover.
Yeah, just gave some time, but now the overclock to try and counter, and the Shatter instead gets one down, but again, nobody dead yet.
The Blade finding a kill, looking for a second one after being very, very quiet throughout the first or these last couple maps. It finally is loud that time around. They will be shut down, but the damage already done. The DPS line for Beagle Bus carrying them through point B.
They have arisen after a very slow map 2, but again, a late recontest here for Franklin, and it forces out the rally. What is happening?
Again, this is kind of going back to the second point of Ilios, where it was scrappy, but it's just kind of weird to see the investments here. But, I mean, it's not weird if it works from Franklin, apparently.
Yeah, they're able to flip it around, and they get Rally out as well. I think that's the lone saving grace, is that, yes, you pull Rally out, Orbital Ray used, and now they're going to have a little bit more of a scuffed touch.
But the Orbital Ray is still going to be able to find some value here. Blizzard from Tyler not going to be able to, reap any of the benefits from it, because, hey, it doesn't freeze everyone. Everyone from Beagle Bus able to get off the point. Glacier, though, gonna die here. Spiff will find one, but not going to be enough. So we were going... Beagle Bus was going to cap the point. Franklin was going to cap the point. Now Beagle Bus looking like they're going to finally cap the point.
What is happening? What is happening in this match? I know this map and this game mode. Are we going to have another touch?
There's going to be
oh my God, we're gonna have
another touch. Tyler's back out on the sim here. Dario on the Tracer gets shut down immediately here. If you're Beagle Bus, you're looking just to keep this point cap alive, but you've already given up a lot. Ricky fell off the map? Question mark? Dink shuts down Glacier, but okay, a questionable use of that. You're going to be beamed down. Point B at this point, Jesse, has to be incredibly cursed since no one wants to cap it.
This has to be the longest point B fight I have ever seen. This is what, the 4th time a team is about to cap, and I think they're actually going to get it this time. Yes, finally somebody decides to win B. We're back even at 2 apiece. What in the world is happening in this series?
I was going to have a breakdown if they got another touch right there and ended up flipping it right back. These two teams, I mean, you're seeing why they're undefeated here at the moment. Both, I mean, didn't lose a map in regular season play, so they both got dealt their first map losses of the season as well outside of the mid-season tournament. And you definitely see that they don't want to lose another. Energy trying to have the same luck with their overclocks, going to be able to shut down Tyler, not with the overclock, but with just primary fire. But hey, a huge pick early on. Glacier does it again, but they're not going to be able to escape this time around. The Ragdoll gonna send the German man flying up to the ceiling, but eventually will crash back down. But Beagle Bus, I was going to say, looking like they're going to be able to cap this one here, and I think with Dario and Pokey dying there, yeah, we're going back to B.
That shuts it down, and this is the weirdest map I think I've ever seen in my life. We're going to have to go, like they may have to do with just an entire episode on this map. This is the spot where we're getting at as a 12k damage when we're only at 3-2 in the map. Like, this is insane. Blade is available for Valentine. Maybe a rally as well. Nano, Sound Barrier, Shatter, Photon Barrier, all available for the Phoenix. It's going to be a Q simulator once again.
And you have to hope that they find the value with it this time around. The Shatter does come out, but it lands onto nobody on the high ground. The ultimates at this point are optional. They don't matter. The B coming out going to be able to make sure Valentine doesn't find anything with the Blade early on here. Trying to get rid of Pokey, not going to be able to find it. Glacier does have the Nano thrown on them, so every ultimate out on the playing field here for Franklin. But they haven't found any kills yet. There's the first one, but it comes at a cost. You lose Spiff now. You're just trying to keep this fight alive here, but Dario.
What?
Okay, you should not have lived there. You should not have killed Valentine. And hell, you probably should not have found... Okay, Dario, pop off, man.
What? This is just
What is
unheard
point
of.
B?
I'm
What is point
speechless. Point B is content farming at its purest form. This is unbelievable. As I thought, just like you, Beagle Boss won that fight because there was no way that Franklin Phoenix, with so many ults they use, didn't really find much. Yes, they shut down the blade, but that's really about it. And they eventually find the Pegasus. Dar is literally shot, reload, begging to finish off the Orisa after they hit the one-shot wonder, and now they just get sniped.
They were focusing a little bit too much on the dynamite right there. Gets taken out by Dinks. Dinks, you know, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, yeah, you're not going to do that to me here on point C. Dinks making sure Glacier's not going to knock him off the map, but looks like Phoenix is setting up for another last-second touch.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go again. Bob will be active here. It will be already, though. The Ray coming out from Bendo, that should give them a really nice advantage.
I mean, Glacier somehow alive. Oh my goodness! That combo has been deadly in the past. Finds 3. Glacier taken out in the aftermath. And finally, someone opened something up here. But, Jesse, we're right back to point B.
Like your favorite spot in this series. Hey, no matter what, it's the final time. No matter what, it's the final time this map. We're going to see this. Because it's either it's done or we're going back to point C again. We'll have to wait and see, though, which one we land on. Bob's still in the pocket for Phoenix. Look at the ultimates. Over almost 80% for everybody involved. The issue is, for both of these teams, you can't use too much unless you're Beagle Bus, and you know you can confirm the map with the ults.
But they're going to back off, allow Franklin here to get up to probably about a quarter of the way before we see a fall down. No, 50% of the way. It's very interesting here because they know that Franklin Phoenix does have these ultimates online. But the rally could be the first thing that comes out here. Ricky trying to do their best, but the speed coming out to respond to it. Maybe a little bit too early as Valentine does have that blade ready to go. Shatter though. Online here for Glacier. The Immortality Field already out. Spiff popping that Amp Matrix out on the high ground, but not really finding anyone. The Shatter, though, again, they always love to do this onto Dinks, and sayonara! You're going off the map for time number 3. NRG, though, finding Dario, but it's Glacier trying to carry their team through this point to make sure we're heading back to point C for one final time here. The Overclock coming out, not going to find the value this time around. NRG, though, still looking for anything here. Almost gets a kill there on the Spiff, but honestly, they should be trying to fall back.
Unless they want to try and fight this again, but Energy will get pushed. The support's able to finish off the Soj. Why not? We're going back one more time, chat. Point C, winner take all for this final one. Energy will be slightly late. Franklin want to play this quick. Beagle Bus want to play this a little bit contained. The Venture comes out for the last second stall as Orbital Ray online for Beagle Bus. Both DPS ults for Phoenix.
I mean, Tyler's ultimate is not something you have to worry about. It's just a shield. But that's going to be something that comes in very handy here, especially for Glacier. If they're going to throw that shield up in front of them, a little bit off the point, and allow Glacier to play it aggressively. But the Bob's out on the field. Orbital Ray out as well. So that shield going to come in a big handy for them here. Bob's still not really finding the value, but it is contesting this point at the moment, allowing Phoenix to live through that first ultimate. But there are a couple others coming online. And again, Glacier trying to find the charge off the map there, but Dinks not going to allow that to happen. Dynamite coming out, going to be hit onto Dinks and only Dinks here. And each team just vying for some space at the moment. But Terror Surge coming out from Dinks, beat from Pokey, but the Dinks throwing that Terror Surge out there a little bit too late. They're just chunked down. Nice play here by NRG to get Spiff out of that Immortality Field. One huge piece of utility down now for the Phoenix, but already about 33% capped on this point, almost 50, and you see the swaps coming out from Beagle Bus.
And especially because of the fact that that's window. They had window available. The Shatter gets nothing when they're trying to hit the Venture, and this is flipped again. That is now in the favor of Beagle Bus, and it will just be up to the supports here for Franklin to try and get some sort of value touch as the stagger picks come through.
Ball on the other side, but will there be a touch? It's up to Pokey. They get denied. Slammed into the ground. Dario doesn't get back. And Beagle Bus, they win one of the maps of all time.
That might have been one of my favorite maps I've ever casted in my life.
What the hell was this?
What was that? I feel like we need a break after that map. That was absolutely insane. It's just back and forth. This is what Clash can be, I guess. But what a series this was. Do we have enough replays of this? I don't even know. I don't know.
It went 9 maps. We had to have enough replays.
my
Here's the thing. When Clash came out, I hated it, both as a competitive mode and just playing it. It's grown on me as a mode to play. I still don't look at it as a competitive mode, but when we get stuff like this, what happened in this map specifically in this series, it's great. It's chaotic. It's a nightmare to play. It's a nightmare for both teams. And we saw it there. I just don't get it. It was something.
I'm gonna have to watch this back. That's like, that kill should not happen. It should have been 4-2 Beagle Bus going over to point A at that point. But Dario helps turn it around. The youngest member of this team brings it all back. And in the final fight where it looks like in a map,
oh my goodness,
that swap and swap and swap. We can't tell who's gonna win each of these points. It is when Phoenix, we feel like they're going to win it, right? They're able to take out Dinks because they have the sound barrier when the Terra Surge is used. And then Spiff gets taken out when Window is available, and it flips again. It was just cinema. Absolute cinema of a map.
And I mean, look at the stats here. Just look at the stats.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's insane. Vobendo died once.
What?
Vobendo died once. We didn't even know. I didn't even know
I didn't
his
realize
stats.
that.
They had 24 kills, 24 elims. I mean, again, that is what Juno is at this point, playing it off angle, and also putting up so much healing, stupid amounts of healing here. But we highlighted one player early on in the map because only 4-point caps in, they had 12,000 damage. NRG ended that map with almost 18,000 damage. Just an insane performance from them. They only died 6 times, and Jesse, I have to say this, if they ended up losing this map, I think we would still be talking about how good NRG did this map.
1,000%. The fact that NRG, they kept them alive, especially in the first half. I think once we got to the second half of that map, it was just who has the better ultimates, who's countering the ultimates. Well, what a performance for NRG, 35 elims, and the 16 final blows is ridiculous. And obviously, they went to the Venture late on, and that was definitely like, hey, I need to get there, and I need to be able to stall, so burrow time. But it worked out. It forced Franklin Phoenix into a very awkward position, and this series is the series that keeps on giving. As we go into map 4, we get ready for it at least. Colosseo it will be. Not as much, again, Brawl, but we've said that for almost every map, and we've seen Brawl every map, so I'm assuming we're going to see more. It may just come down to the hit scans again. Dario, NRG, who can get the most value out of the Ashe, especially because Ashe and Soj love this map. We could even see Widow. I doubt it with how much Genji Tracer we've seen from the Flex DPS. That could be hell, but we could see it, I guess. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, and one final thing on NRG, you talked about the Venture swap. They found Spiff out. That was what really led them to winning that final fight and winning the map right there, getting rid of Spiff, because that was their main source of healing. The Lucio could only do so much, and you saw everyone slowly fall after that. So NRG was a highlight there, but they were a highlight in a long line of highlights of that map. But heading into, like you said, Colosseo here, I mean, I imagine we're going to see Brawl. You talked about a Widow. I would love to see it, because if a Widow can get hot, wow, are they fun to watch. But I feel like we've kind of seen what we're going to be seeing from both these teams at this point. It's going to be, we're going to see the Juno, we're going to see the Lucio, we're going to see the Brig, the Ana, and the BAP, at least for Franklin Phoenix here. The question for BeagleBus here is, you can technically play ball on this map if you want. Do you try it at all?
Maybe like out of spawn you try it, but I almost feel like ball is better once you get to like near the ticks of this map, whereas a lot more room to play around. There's not as many beams to stop your momentum. I wouldn't put it past Dinks to do it, but I'm not necessarily confident. Again, we see no subs. I don't believe any subs are even here for BeagleBus. There's a few available for Franklin, but they're just going to keep running it down with this 5. Man, if this map is even like half as good, a third as good as that last map, we're fed. As many 3-0s and stomps we've had for SNO recently, especially for NA, this is a treat.
I mean, especially after the EU game, which, I mean, everyone was talking about that was going to be an incredibly close series, but it just ended up kind of being a 3-0, a very straight up 3-0. And I mean, I could kind of tell that there are some people who are kind of disappointed about that, but we are getting, like you said, fed here now. Dude, if it's even half of what last map was, I don't know if I'll be able to handle it.
Dude, my voice is already cooked. So I've accepted it that if for a series this good, I'll do it. Dinks, teasing, granted, teasing the Ramatra, which ever since the Season 13 change hasn't been the best because he can't punch through that Ryan shield anymore. Yes, he does 2.5 times damage to the shield, but he's not really the best counter anymore to the Reinhardt. They will not run it in the end. It is a bait. It will be over to the Orisa. With the Zen, I think the Zen variant actually can work pretty well here. It will be Symmetra as well for Tyler, so it will be, hey, they're going to try and TP into Ricky. Point blank. That is going to be what they try and do.
TP into Ricky, or, I mean, hell, they could play right next to Glacier as they go up against Dinks and get that level 3 beam just up almost instantly and make Dinks' life a living hell, because you're really hoping that Vobendo is just solely focusing you at that point.
Yeah, you got to hope that, honestly, for the communication for Beagle Bus has to be there with the Discord orbs. That is the only way you're going to have the Zen work. But we are in the traditional, hey, Coliseo, nobody really wants to make a first move phase of this map. So we might be sitting here for a little bit. As the energy just sitting almost, again, that high ground to the right. So again, they don't want to get rushed in on, and TP goes down, but not really exactly where they want to be.
I mean, I like how they're playing, how they're using the TP. It also gives Glacier a chance to escape if they feel like they are getting pressured back a little bit too much by him. Nice javelin there by Dinks. The DPS, I mean, each team, like you said, not really wanting to make the first mistake here. But Beagle Bus, if you lose this fight, I mean, Franklin Phoenix is going to be able to get this bot almost up to first point.
Yeah, it's very risky right now, because the fact that it is already 16 meters and counting for this bot, you are banking on the fact you are going to win, but Franklin is going to reset. Again, they're happy with this. They're going to wait to either have an ultimate they can bounce off of, which currently is the window, or see if they can force out a mistake from Beagle Bus, and that was almost Valentine there for a second.
And I think I know what Beagle Bus is trying to do here. They're trying to get the combo of the Terra Surge and the Orbital Array, which Rovendo has, and Dinks also incredibly close to it, especially with how close Franklin Phoenix are playing to each other here. It could be something that's very scary, but it looks like the Orbital Array going to come out here early, and that's going to allow Beagle Bus here to get their first point push here, and they're going to be able to find Tyler, who was so close to that photon barrier.
Yeah, they just get countered, and they get caught out. They didn't rotate towards the outside like everybody else. They tried to go to inside with the mini, and it just didn't work out that time around. Now, all of a sudden, Orisa in the back, window popped, what? Played everything.
There's the Terra Surge. If he can come out from Pokey to keep everyone alive, but Pokey could be the first one taken out of this fight via the blade from Valentine, but Tyler coming back into the fray will be able to immediately trade it out there. So, I mean, we're about 2.5 minutes into this map. We've seen 2 deaths. Both these teams playing very, very safe at the moment, but Beagle Bus has the lead. The Shatter coming out from Glacier will find Ricky, but the Transcendence going to come out in time to keep them alive, and oh man, what a pivotal Transcendence there for them. Overclock from NRG looking just to force Franklin back, and that's exactly what it's going to do.
Yeah, just forces them away, and again, not many people dying. That cart really not moving anywhere fast. That is for certain. Bob is the only thing left. Turret will just be kind of a distraction. This is, again, just odd, because neither team want to push in too much, but now that Ricky is low and there is no Transcendence to worry about, maybe Franklin play more aggressive, knowing they have the ever so slight ult advantage, and there is the pick you needed.
Yeah, that was the opening act you were looking for. Also, Glacier finding Ricky. Dinks will find Tyler, but hey, sticks and stones in this fight. It's already over. You've won. You're okay dying there, and especially on the sim, you can get back pretty fast as well.
Yeah, you can get back relatively fast. We do got some changes now coming out. Now that we actually have the end of a team fight, almost 4 minutes into this game. It will be Ash now for NRG. Ricky will go over to the Brig. So a little bit more pressure, a little bit help more as well on the back line. Franklin Phoenix obviously haven't had time to reset or anything, but they will continue pushing the spot, and everybody playing underneath. And they could just use Bob to counter the aggression coming in from Beagle Bus.
Dinks already getting hit with the dynamite right there and starting to be pressured back here a little bit. And like you said, yeah, the Bob could come out right now and really force Dinks to fall back around a corner here, especially if they're in the sightlines over here. But Dinks, so close to that Terra Surge, actually wants to play a little bit aggressively here, and I like it. There's really nothing on the other side to stop it. Vobendo, again, almost has another Orbital Ray ready to go here. They have it ready, but you lose Ricky, And you might be investing in Orbital Ray right about now. And hey, you find Dario off that combo right there, get rid of Glacier as well. I think you found everything you're looking for there. The stalls are going to come out here for Franklin. Well, it's going to be a Beagle Bus team kill.
Yeah, Beagle Bus able to clinch it out, but the big thing there for Franklin, 0 ultimates used. They just use the positioning and the pressure like, hey, time's a ticking. Already half the clock is gone. You guys got to make a move at some point. And they do force some of those moves to be put out, but it's not like a worst case scenario here for Beagle Bus. They still have Blade. They're going to have Bob coming up to work with, but this is the awkward part of this. Yes, nobody's got a tick. We're halfway through this map. Because honestly, both teams are okay being a little bit slow, but at some point that's got to change.
Dario finds Valentine right there, so no Blade for this engagement. And like I said, that Sim Beam, if it gets onto Dinks, it's going to be something scary for them here. And I mean, if Franklin can find one more pick here, they might just guarantee themselves forward spawns.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to, unless there is a nice touch, maybe from like a Bob from NRG. But it should be at least forward spawns activated for Franklin, and it will. So, butt scratch initiated. This is the pivotal fight. I think if Franklin win this and they get to 100 meters, it's going to be a miracle for Beagle Bus, especially when they have this swap onto the Winston. It's a decent gamble, but it can work.
Yeah, but we saw what happened last time they brought out the Winston. It didn't really work out for them, but that was on a dive-heavy map. The Blade coming out from Valentine now. NRG gonna, find
Ajax.
2 picks in the confusion. Oh, no. Not an Ajax. Not a certified CGL Ajax, but Glacier finding 2. The shatter? Oh, what? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, what is going on here?
Okay, so Tyler used that from spawn to try and help their Ryan. I respect that. That was a choice. That is like throwing of Anubis if it got thrown back at us for a fight. But again, they have forward spawns and they're actually going to contest it. They do not want it to reset. They're going to try and play up and just continue. Do you see how quickly they try and punish Dinks in that last fight? It was rude.
They let it reset.
Yep.
They let it reset, but you can see why, because Beagle Bus decided to say, okay, we need to go, and we need to go, and NRG said no to Tyler.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're done stalling, bud. You're done stalling. That was exactly what Beagle Bus needed, and only 1 ult used. So you get a very quick fight when time is not necessarily in your favor, and you only have to use the 1. You're going to have both support ults.
Oh my goodness, Glacier! If 2 looking for a 3rd, Dario's gonna find Ricky, and Beagle Bus came in that engagement, having the Orbital Ray, having the rally. I was gonna talk about how they had everything they needed to win this to win the forward spawns very quickly, but no, they lost that almost immediately. However, they're gonna have it for this next fight.
Yeah, they'll have it for this next fight. This, again, Q Frenzy for Beagle Bus. They can't use everything. That is going to be the motto for Beagle Bus going into the rest of this. Because again, yes, you're going to have Primal here when Dinks gets low. You need to be able to find something. They find Spiff on the off angle. They may not even need to use Primal.
They don't need to at this point. Spiff's down. You see Glacier and the rest of the team slowly falling behind them here. So, I mean, again, another one ultimate fight win here for Beagle Bus at a time where they desperately need that to be the case. But at the same time, because Franklin Phoenix was able to push this bot so far back up, look at their ultimates. They're about to have 4 as well.
And this is the catch-22 of push, right? This is why some people, some people like it, some people hate it. It can't just be very much, hey, we win a fight, we lose a fight, and we're okay. Like, there is no need to be super aggressive right now because of the fact that they have a 35-meter lead. They can just play around the objective. They don't have to be super aggressive. And it does force Beagle Bus to have those kind of risks.
The Blade coming out here, going to be just boosted by the Orbital Ray, finding 3, hey, finding 4, almost the ace right there, but Bobendo taking care of Tyler. And now, if you're Franklin, you might be getting a little bit nervous here.
Yeah, you get a little nervous. They might be able to touch before, Glacier's already being able to touch before that actually goes through. Oh, yeah, they will be able to touch it. This is critical because especially if they win this, it will be a full reset for Phoenix, and Spiff's already dead again.
Bob being thrown out here by Dario. Primal Rage as well from Dinks. You lose Glacier, but I mean, you're finding picture now, especially if you're Dario. But hey, there's one thing that in the midst of this fight that Beagle Bus is kind of forgetting about. It would be the bot.
Yeah, bot got taken away, and that is just a reset on the fight, which they cannot afford, especially when they find that pick. onto Spiff early. Now they're trying to get the stagger onto Diggs. It's all falling apart here for Beagle Bust.
It is all falling apart for them now. I mean, but you look at Franklin. 4 ultimates in their back pockets. Beagle Bus only really going to have 2 for what could be the final engagement.
Very well could, and honestly, if you're Beagle Bus, you cannot let Dario get 2 picks there. It changed the entire inflection of that fight. Now saying it goes from you maybe getting the lead to you fighting for your life here.
Blizzard coming out looks like it's not going to be able to freeze up anyone, but if you are Franklin, the one thing you're just looking to do here was just stall out the bot here a little bit. You find Ricky after the fact. I think everything's kind of working out. From the Shatter coming out, we'll find 2 there. Cleaning up 2 as well is Glacier, and now you're just trying to find the rest. Dink's going to be pinned against the wall and taken out. Franklin Phoenix, the Young Guns, sending us to a map 5.
We promised you all content. Map 5, here we go. Franklin Phoenix and Beagle Bus. This series is one for the history books. As soon as they got the lead, Franklin, they played it smart. They were able just to take the back and forth, and honestly, later on, they really felt comfortable. Even though Valentine, best effort from him. I think maybe his best performance in a map so far this season. And not this season, this series. But again, it just wasn't enough because, well, hey, this man's a menace. But it just felt like Phoenix knew how to play push better. And sometimes that, even if you don't get as many kills as the other team, if you know the mechanics of push, you can just outright win through macro.
Yeah, and I mean, the first 4 minutes of this series, or of this map, my bad, was slow. It was there's the Ajax. But like each team really did recognize how important this map was, and they didn't want to be the first one to make a mistake. But you need to look at the DPS lines for both sides to really try to find something to open it up. And it was Dario who found the opening pick for Franklin, and then you saw him win a team fight right there. And it gave them everything they needed, because it was at that point from there on out that Beagle Bus was playing from behind, and Franklin, it seemed like they were comfortable at all times.
Yeah, Franklin knew as soon as they got the advantage, they need to be the one that win back-to-back fights. We can take the 1 fight win, 1 fight loss. They could take that trade back and forth. This was just insane. The fact that the poor Vobendo just drops down to low ground like, hello, present. There you go, team. As we look at the stats, it's honestly even kill-wise, right? Like, most elims is actually on the side of Beagle Bus. 23 from Dinks, 21 from NRG and Valentine. It's just the fact that the beginning of the map went in favor of Franklin Phoenix so much. It was just too much of a hurdle for Beagle Bus to try and capitalize and try and overcome, I should say, later on. And Pokemon only 5k heals on the list, so it's not like they had to do a lot of healing. It was just speeding around Glacier.
And again, how does Vobendo not die as much as as they should?
Insane,
this is like they died 1 time last map in the most chaotic clash map to probably ever be played on stream, and then they die 3 times in this map where, again, it was incredibly chaotic. It was back and forth. But again, we need to focus in on the tanks here. Glacier and Dinks are putting on a performance of the season here at the tank role. But here's the biggest thing. Glacier won this map. Dinks did not. And Dinks had more elims. They had less deaths. They had more elims. They had more damage, but it really comes down to that damage blocked for Glacier. Almost 16k damage absorbed by that Rhine shield, and you are seeing why they are trying to prove to us that a Rhine comp can always work no matter what.
And they were also just an ult battery for Spiff, right? Like, Spiff was the first one to get ult during that first fight. That helped them build that advantage early because of the fact, like, hey, shoot me. I'm Ryan. I'm in your face. You know I can kill you if I get too close. You gotta shoot me. And that just helps the Franklin economy boost up. Yes, it also helps the DPS for Beagle Bus to get their ultimates. But this series, man, this has just been, this is what NA Overwatch can be, especially when you got 2 teams like this who, they don't care about meta. Like, they care about what they're good at and what they want to try and do. They're going to take the risky retakes. They're going to have the risky pushes. And it works a lot of the time. And man, map 5 is going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, and honestly, we needed a break after the 3rd map. We're definitely going to take a break after that fourth map, everybody. This is what you've been wanting for here with Saturday Night Overwatch, a series that goes the distance. But we're going to give the teams 5 minutes here to catch their breath and to get ready for our final map of the night no matter what. So we're going to throw it to a quick break. Stick around because you are not going to want to miss map 5.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
right, after a whole bunch of 3 Overwatch here on SNO, we finally get presented with a 5-map series here on the NA side. Franklin Phoenix and Beagle Bus has been everything that we hoped it would be. The desk was split with who we picked, half for Franklin Phoenix, half for Beagle Bus. But at this point, I mean, we even went to go talk to the desk during that break. We just don't care. This has been an incredible series. Whoever comes out on top truly does deserve it in what has been definitely probably one of the series here of this entire season.
It's got to be one of the most entertaining series of SNO in recent memory. Like, whether it be the blades from Valentine, the random shatters and pins from Glacier, we saw an Ajax this series. Like, this has truly been one of the most entertaining series I've ever seen. And the icing on the cake is our first view, honestly, of one of the new maps, or at least the new adjusted maps in the game. It will be Dorado for our final map. And yes, now there's an elevator on this map. There is a stairway up to high ground on second phase. If anything, it helps Phoenix a tiny bit trying to usher Glacier around, but I would say if we just look at it purely as what comps are these teams comfortable on, it's got to be leaning towards Beagle Bus. But I've also learned that this series, you cannot predict it. If whatever happens is going to happen, you might as well just buckle in and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. At this point, we are strapped in. It has certainly been a ride here.
Yeah.
But you talked about here, Beagle Bus, you said it might lean towards them a little bit, but I might be thinking the other way. I might be thinking it leans towards Franklin Phoenix, because, like, here's the thing. This is a dive map, especially on the first 2 points and even a little bit on the third. But when we've seen Beagle Bus run dive, it's never really looked good against Franklin Phoenix. And then the only thing you really have to go up against it at that point is the Orisa. And that has been kind of a 50-50 coin flip for them here. So I think if Franklin Phoenix are able to get the Rhine going fast, it's going to be something that causes a lot of problems here for this Beagle Bus team.
It's going to force a lot of problems for Beagle Bus if they can't figure out a way, because, like Coliseo, they just couldn't find the consistent response. They'd win a fight, lose a fight, win a fight, lose a fight. They needed that back-to-back fight win to truly get them back into the conversation of Coliseo, and it just wasn't meant to be. But now, as we go over to Dorado, yeah, there is no shock for Franklin Phoenix. They're going to be on the Glacier Rhine. They're going to be running this comp. The only thing is, yes, you have Pokemini on the Juno instead of the Lucio. Does give you a little more healing. Even though, yes, you're not going to be able to usher Glacier around 24/7. I think it is a better call. If you look at Beagle Bus, yeah, it's going to be, especially going the Winston a lot. It hasn't always worked necessarily, because Franklin are very good at punishing that. But it is still what they want to try and run here. It is the most conventional here on Dorado. And here we go. Conventional versus unconventional. The old guns and the old boys versus the young guns of SNO and CGL. Let's have a fun time.
Yeah, and like I said, after last map, this Franklin Phoenix team has just really impressed me in the first time that I'm seeing them here. And this is a team that, if they stay together past this year, it's going to be one that will be able to go up against some of those top guns here in the open tier. And hell, they've been able to do that already this season early on. Dinks, though, being taken out early. I mean, they were designated cart pusher there, and a huge dynamite from Dario, and just a whole bunch of damage from everyone else really did end that fight early, and a nice dynamite right there as well.
Yeah, forces energy to back up, and Glacier is made on the high ground. Glacier, is he gonna stay? He's gonna stay up there. He's gonna force energy to play a more. He's gonna move. I thought he was gonna force a more passive position. Tyler is in a bad spot though, and will get out.
Dinks up here again. Again, designated cart pusher right now, and you can see Beagle Bus at the moment. Their main kind of style here is have that dive come out and hope the DPS is going to be able to find a 1 or 2 picks just to open something up. But everyone on Phoenix is playing good at the moment, playing smart. There's another dive from Dinks onto Glacier, who now needs to start considering about their own life. But you have to worry about Tyler on that Tracer. Going to be able to chunk down energy, send him back to spawn there with a hearty slap. But still, Beagle Bus does have control of the card, and now Dinks going 1v1 with Glacier, going to be able to get themselves out of that situation, though.
Tyler, yes, they have, I don't think, the best performance. I don't think it's one that they're going to look back on with total glee. but I think it's been an all right performance, especially when they're on the flanks. But that time they do get caught out. But this is where Franklin want to play, but they may not even be able to now that they're down 2.
And that's the opening that Beagle was looking for there. It started with a nice sweep there on the Tyler, followed by the torpedoes from Bobendo. Dinks now has that access to that back line. Going to be able to find Glacier, who's just trying to charge out now, trying to find the supports. But, I mean, this cart is now rolling for Beagle Bus, but we have definitely seen some last-second touches in the past.
Yeah, especially this series, we've seen a lot of last-second touches, so I wouldn't be shocked. Tyler does get slept, but Glacier will barely be able to get the touch, but they don't have Tracer.
Shatter comes out, does hit NRG, but they're still able to get Bob out. Bob is actually could push the cart right now. The Orbital Ray coming out from Pokey, just trying to do what they can. Primal Rage, going to be able to keep Dinks alive here. Bob now coming out from Dario, just to keep this cart contested, but so little, too late right there. It's going to be Beagle Buzz capping that first point and giving themselves a healthy 4-minute time bank. But now if you're Franklin Phoenix, yeah, your goal here is just to get out alive.
Is that a certified CGL C9? I don't know.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. I don't think we're gonna mark that one as. But that was a little harsh. And now you can really see the new second phase here. A little more cover for the attack when they try and push in, and an easier way to get onto the high ground. Which, for them during their attack, isn't really gonna matter a whole lot. They have the dive anyway, but it'll help Ricky and company to get up there easier in the pulse. Yeah, not a whole lot that time for Tyler.
Tyler now just trying to keep themselves alive as they're being burnt alive, also being electrocuted at the same time. So they're going to be sent back to spawn with a whole bunch of scars on them. But now, again, you see where this dive comp kind of comes in. The Blade on the high ground going to be able to find one, make it two, a third one as well. The Blade's finally starting to come alive for Valentine here in the past couple maps, but they do die. However, Cart, almost to point B.
Almost to point B, and they still have the Orbital Ray to use. So it's not like they have nothing at their disposal. It will be some swaps coming in. Spiff will actually take the mantle for the Juno. Pokemini going over to the Brig. So this more standard support comp that we've seen as of late. Glacier yet is basically stuck on point, but energy already gone.
But the Orbital Ray coming out, that will do a lot here to Glacier, who's just hoping that their supports are going to be able to sustain them through here. Dive up on that high ground. Not necessarily going to get them on that high ground, but that dive going to come right back almost immediately. Pokey almost taken out, but instead they find Valentine, they find Bobendo. Dinks out as well. But looks like Ricky will be able to hopefully escape here. No.
No, this is... That's rude.
That's just mean. That's just mean. That's bullying almost.
That is not nice. And honestly, at this point, 2 minutes left. You used a lot of ultimates there for Beagle Bus, but you still have Soon Bob and Primal Rage to go off of. This will be the big fight for Franklin Phoenix. Again, a neutral fight for the most part. Shatter, it's going to more than likely be a solo Shatter on a Dinks, let's be real. If they can actually get something out of it, it's big, but you're going to have to act like it's a neutral fight for Franklin, unless she's going to... What? Okay, well, or nothing. Or nothing.
That's a costly ultimate that you would love to have back, but at the same time, you would love just to keep them alive, and it looks like they're going to be able to do just that. Beagle Bus now, huge advantage on the ultimate economy, looking to try to get rid of Dario, who's so close to a Bob, but they're able to pick up the large health back. Glacier, though, back in the fray here for a moment, wants to try to get rid of Dinks. The Primal Rage coming out, though. Bob in the bank. An interesting play there by Dario, but it will force them back.
Yeah, it forces them out, and it actually just allows Franklin to at least contest this point. Bob, though, is actually doing exactly the opposite. Locks away the push, but won't matter.
The Bob came out, then got beamed from the heavens back to wherever Bob stays, and Franklin able to win off that alone. And look, Franklin still has 2 ultimates while Beagle Bus basically invested the 2 they had that fight. They're going to have 2 more, though, ready to go for what could be our final one. Widow?
Could be, maybe depending on how long it takes for Beagle Bus to try and push in. NRG, we talked about it, the Widow is a possibility, especially on this phase of the map, and it will be utilized right now. So it is very much a boom or bust pick, but it is going to be one that they're going to have to bank on because, again, yes, they have the Nano to go on to Valentine for the Nano Blade, and there you go. Worked.
There's your boom. There's your boom. You said boom or bust. All they needed to do was get 1 pick here. Nano, though, thrown on the Valentine, but shoved into a wall. The rally now coming out from Pokey just to keep this fight going. But if NRG, again, if they can find that boom pick that they're looking for here, it opens up a lot. But they need to get a touch here on the cart. Beagle Bus, there's the touch to keep this overtime alive, but they get off it now. Tyler, they're going to be able to find Ricky Dinks, going to be taken out as well. And hey, much like on Hollywood, Franklin Phoenix denying Beagle Bus, capping point B, and giving themselves a chance now to win this series.
A clear win condition now for the Franklin Phoenix. Like I said, it's very weird. Very similar spot to where this card ends, right at the end of second phase, but not quite there yet. And especially first phase looked great for Beagle Bus. Yes, it was a little, I would say a C9, but a pseudo C9, as nobody was from the high ground was able to jump down, but you were getting pushed away by the Primal Rage. And then this point, this is where I thought, hey, Beagle Bus, they're going to be able to cap second phase. It just doesn't happen. This shatter was a shatter
of all time.
It was a shatter of all time. And it just seems like Beagle Bus had so many opportunities, but Phoenix did a great job of just stalling. And the fact that that is such an unfortunate pin, I won't lie, for Valentine. But it worked out, and now Beagle Bus in a tough situation. The Pharah has been released.
This is going to be another kind of boomer bust pick because Dario, especially in the last couple maps, has really just been accurate. And I mean, even to go back to Throne of Anubis, got kills they really should not have gotten. Ended up turning 1 kill where Valentine should have easily taken them out into 3 kills that made sure they got point B back. So, I mean, if they do not expect the Pharah here, if they allow NRG to find value early on, it's going to be something that they're going to struggle just to shut down.
It's all the pressure in the world on Dario. We expected this. Especially, you got to use the elevator if you're Glacier. Especially, this allows Dario rain up here, because it's not like Dinks can just go up and there's nobody to punish him. Glacier will be there for now as this card starts to move on forward. So it is a tricky way for Beagle Bus. Instead going backline, and there goes Pokey.
Yeah, and like, this is what's going to work out for them here, is that they can dive on and off the cart pretty easily with Franklin running this Rhine. They really can't have a follow-up onto anything that Dinks does here unless they just catch them out with a lot of damage before they even touch the ground. And this is a point where in the previous couple maps, Franklin's DPS line really need to find an opening pick onto someone just to give them some breathing room.
Yeah, they need to find that opening pick, and so far, haven't really found it. As Dario, yeah, they're trying to pressure NRG, which granted, neither of them have really done a whole lot yet, but it is something that they need to do. But that time around, it's Tyler again taken out early.
And Glacier had an opportunity right there to get 2 pins, but didn't get them. That was incredible. Almost gets a 3rd one right there, but I think that was Valentine just bouncing off them. It looks like, though, Beagle Bus might be asking for a pause here.
Both sides asking for a pause. I think that was, I don't know. Yeah, I think they were trying to wait for the fight to end, but there wasn't really an end to that fight, I guess. So I understand.
The first time we've said
I don't know.
that.
Yeah, that's a rough time to pause, as Dario just gets the pick off on Valentine. But obviously, you guys can't see what we can see right now. We can see the alt banks for each team, as it will be Nano and Orbital Ray both almost online for Beagle Bus, and similarly for Phoenix. Tank Mouse died.
Yeah, so it looks like Dinks tanks. Yeah, Dinks Mouse died.
Yeah, so that's a good reason to pause, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah, that's understandable. It does feel like Franklin are struggling to initiate. It's been a great job of a poke from Beagle Bus. Man, my voice is cooked from this. But it's been a great job. Hey, keep away. Tyler has not been able to go in. Glacier has not been able to go in to at least get enough value. With the Tracer gone, maybe this is something Franklin can take advantage of, as that car is already just underneath the archway.
Yeah, and at the same point, like you said, it's keep away here for Beagle Bus. They're not allowing Dario to find value with the dynamites. Everyone that's on that high ground is playing decently far away from each other. So if it lands on the one person, it only lands onto that one person. No one's really poking their heads out. This Pharah, I mean, finally looks like they're still alive. Valentine just died. Yep. But this Pharah has basically kind of had free reign just to kind of rain rockets in. They're not playing from the sky. They're playing from ground level on that high ground, but still, they're just they're just juking in and out from behind that cover, firing a rocket or two off because they know there's no immediate threat to them of a dive or that Tracer getting in that backline either.
Yeah, they know, hey, the Tracer is not a worry. We can kind of just play our style and be aggressive, right? So I'm trying to look at this again. 2.5 minutes left. I will say right now, I'm leaning towards Phoenix. A, because their defense was great once they got in the second phase. If they win this fight, they're going to have about 4 minutes just to basically cap Streets phase. That is a lot of time to try and defend, but we saw Phoenix do something similar. So it's not like it's the end of the world. I'm done trying to guess in this series how this is going to go because God only knows. Throne of Anubis taught us not to do that, let alone the rest of this series. So I'm not going to try and predict the end result, but I do believe that Phoenix are in a good spot. It's about 2 to 3 minutes is what they are projecting right now for the mouse to get fixed. I'm guessing trying to find the plugin for the mouse. But yeah, it's a rough spot for Beagle Bus to be, especially because they don't have the Tracer in play for the rest of this fight.
Yeah, they don't have the Tracer, so that does allow Tyler on the other side to have a little bit more freedom because normally the Tracers are checking each other here. But I mean, that's been the one thing that that Franklin Phoenix has really struggled on, at least early on in this round, is finding that first pick. They finally got it here. They can go in a little bit, force Beagle Bus back, but I think Franklin Phoenix needs to win this fight. If they win this fight because of how far along that cart is pushed, they probably get 0.1 as well. If they lose this fight, I mean, you're allowing Beagle Bus to come back in with a pulse bomb, with a nano, with an orbital ray, and probably going to be able to build up to that primal rage as well. So they have enough stuff right there to at least just eat that time bank down, even if it's something where they have to, they goes a couple fights. Franklin still caps in overtime 0.1, but they have stuff coming up online fast. Franklin needs to win this current fight once we go back in, really.
Yeah, and it seems like we are about to go back in. R's from both teams. The one quick thing I will say, I wonder if Nano or Orbital Ray is used on cooldown as soon as it hits 100 for Beagle Bus. But we'll have to wait and see. We are back in.
Yeah, Dario finding that pick right there is huge. They have been just kind of struggling because no one was really showing themselves here, but now they might be able to get that high ground and start to pressure out NRG a little bit here. And you exactly see them on that off angle right there. Dynamite coming out. Great shot by them, but they immediately get dived right back out. Dinks, though, getting that nano, trying to get rid of this Ashes, following them. Coach gonna get to shoot them away here for the moment. Shatter comes out. Does hit Ricky. The barrage, though, going to do everything that Beagle Bus needed to do there. Pulse Bomb coming out, not going to find anything. I mean, Phoenix does get 2 picks right there, but this fight is all but lost for them.
Yeah, this fight's over with the Pulse Bomb. Wow, that is a very late pulse. Do they get out? That could be a difference maker. Ricky will not be here. Lavendo may have to either ring or they're going to have to play super conservative because they used everything, Beagle Bus. Still, the Kitsune Rush and Bob available for Phoenix, and they realize that they're going to push very quickly.
Yeah, we're going to see probably a late contest here. You already see Dinks diving in, but there's a Kitsune Rush out from Pokey. They want to play fast, and getting rid of Dinks right there, I don't think Beagle Bus contest, no. But 4 minutes on the time bank here now for Franklin is great for them, and, just staggering Ricky a little bit more.
Yeah, another stagger. No, yes, you lose your Ash, Spiff. That was adventurous.
All?
Yeah, that's about all I got to say for that one. As it will be the Wrecking Ball coming out now for Dinks. I wonder if that is... No, they would have had plenty of time to swap off if that was a stall pick. So they're trying, again, Chaos Comp. It's what they looked great on back all the way in map 1 when we started over an hour ago. And now they're going to try and bring it back here to try and clinch the series.
Almost 2 hours ago at this point.
Oh my god, yeah.
Jesus. But, I mean, this Chaos Comp needs to work out for them. If they allow someone like Dario to find picks and just build up mobs, it's going to be something that really, really does hurt this team. Dinks, though, I mean, Glacier has had their number when it comes to those charges. It doesn't matter what hero they're playing, whether it be the Orisa, whether it be the Winston, or whether it be the Ball. They're somehow always able to land a charge on them. And look, Bob now coming out from Dario here just to try to give Franklin some space, and it's working out.
It is working out to perfection. They're able to push so far ahead. Glacier finds Ricky in a corner, takes out the flex support, and this could get really ugly if they cannot stabilize here very fast, or at least get out. And that, oh my god.
We talked about it in the break with everyone on the desk. Their shatters find everyone, no one, or the only in between is just Dinks. And it did just that right there. Look at the cart now. There's a touch coming out from Valentine, but now Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this. Hey, guys, cart. Someone could touch this card and push it all the way, but instead they're going for the kills instead. They find one. The Orbital Ray coming out from Spiff now. Glacier already finds Ricky. Orbital Ray out from the other side as well. Fight for fight here. Each team needs to win this one. Valentine carrying their team early on through this one. Pulse Bomb getting stuck onto Glacier, and that Orbital Ray boost going to be able to help them take care of the tank. 3 meters the difference right now, but Beagle Bus able to hold.
Ooh, what a orbital ray for Vobendo, and Valentine with the cleanup, who again has been a little quiet other than maps 1 and 4. That was a nice little turn on energy. We'll take the risky swap. It worked out a little bit, just not enough during their attack. They will go back over to the Widow. So Dario needs to watch their head a little bit more, be a little more passive with their positioning. Puts more pressure as well on a Tyler to try and at least get some sort of pressure, or at least positioning notification to the rest of the team so they don't get taken out in the fight through. Mine's already used.
And honestly, if you're Franklin Phoenix, you're probably okay with that here, but you need this fight to go fast, win or lose, because that time bank is no longer on your side. Charge coming out from Glacier, trying to get rid of Valentine. Not going to do that. Instead, just charge into the back line, which is a place that they have been pretty frequently throughout this series. Energy, they're going to be able to find Dario. You find all the value you want with that Widow pick already, and you get Glacier to just go rolling right past you.
The fact that a minute is gone, Glacier will get staggered out as well. That is massive for Beagle Bus, who did not have any ultimates going into that fight. It was a risk. Now, going into this next fight, they could have Pulse. That is it. Dinks will go over now to the Diva, realizing the Wrecking Ball is getting heavily countered by the Franklin Phoenix. I can't ignore the elephant in the room. Yes, ult advantage is in favor of the Franklin Phoenix. They have the Pulse. They have the Kitsune Rush. Should have Shatter and or Orbital Ray later on. Well, we've seen how this point can be held on to. I wouldn't be shocked if Beagle Bus were able to hold on to win the series.
Everyone just doing the ducks right here, making sure they're not getting their heads taken off early. If I was Pokey, I would maybe be thinking about using that Kitsune Rush early on here, but you lose energy popping off in a moment where you needed them to do just that. But you do see Valentine fall right there. Pulse Bomb will come out. Not going to be able to find anyone, but Dinks finds Dario. Someone from Franklin needs to be the touch. The Pulse Bomb coming out onto Dinks won't get them team maxed, but this touch, someone needs to touch.
Someone's got to touch. Tyler dies. No one is near. That's it.
That's it. Oh, so close, yet so far away. But the Rhine, they charged away from the fight to try to keep themselves alive. But it will be Beagle Bus that comes out on top. And honestly, man, like, this was one of those series for both these teams. They both played their hearts out. And honestly, I feel like to have that series end like how it did without a touch kind of just sucks.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an anticlimactic end, I won't lie. That was, I will say, great awareness from Beagle Bus. Like, hey, they're not pushing quickly hit. It's just like what Franklin Phoenix did on Hollywood during their defense. Realize, hey, if we push now, they won't have enough time to recontest. We might as well go in, try and finish the job before they can set up with the Kitsune Rush and the rest of the ultimates that they had. What a series. I gotta say, I'm begging for this rematch in the postseason. I'll be honest, I'm begging for it, because that was one of the best series we've had all season long.
I'm really banking on this being a rematch too in the postseason, but there are so many other great teams in this PC Open tier. I mean, Nightmare Rotation's a part of this one, Arise a part of this one as well. A couple other teams are a part of this that are all incredible teams. These two are a part of that list as well. Beagle Bus, though, going to be able to keep their perfect season alive. Franklin Phoenix, I mean, this was an incredibly close fought series through and through. They leave it now with their first loss of the season, but honestly, I don't think they have anything to hang their heads on about. This was an incredibly close series against one of the best teams, not only in the tier this season, but just a core of people that have been considered some of the best players in CGL for a long time.
Yeah, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I think obviously they're going to look back at that final fight and be like, we should have played more aggressive. We should have just, like you said, popped ult immediately, but they don't get Orbital Ray. They're not able to use the Kitsune Rush. They're not able to use anything that they were banking on. And the only advantage they had going into that fight as well, it's a rough pill to swallow for the Young Guns. And that maybe is where the experience leaned it towards Beagle Bus just a tiny bit more. And it helped them win out that series. You can look at the standings. It was even. 15 final blows for Glacier is a little bit nuts. But again, it is just a matter of inches, a matter of meters in this game sometimes. And it was just the slight advantage towards Beagle Bus that got them this win.
And I'm trying to do very quick math, but I do not have enough time to do it. I think the deaths on each side are even here. I'm just looking down. Maybe Franklin Phoenix has less deaths in this map, but it's still Beagle Bus comes out on top. And again, it just shows you how closely contested these two teams were. I mean, you look down almost every column right here. They are so similar across the board. It's just incredible to see. Like these two teams put on a show for us here tonight. But again, we've focused on these two in the past. We're going to be focusing on the hit scan players here, Dario and NRG, because they really opened up a lot for both their teams here. Dario on the Ashe, NRG, especially in the last parts of the maps on the Widow, opened up their teams greatly. And you see it here. Elim's the same. Final blows, one difference. It comes down to that death thing again a little bit where Dario had more, but I don't think that really hurt Franklin Phoenix in this battle.
No, I don't really think it did. And again, this is that Widow pick at the end. I said it was gonna be boom or bust. It boomed. That was what won them the map. That's what won them the series for NRG, because getting those pickoffs, getting the pickoff onto Dario during that second to last fight, isolated Franklin, made them back up, and those staggers came in to where they weren't able to get that real final touch. That was again one of the best series I think I've seen in a long time for CGL. That's point blank. That was one of the best we've seen in a while. Never played a Beagle Bus because that's one hell of a way to stay undefeated for at least the regular season. Hey, you stay 5-0. You're top 2 in PC Opens here. Now you got the rest of the back half of the season to look at. Whew, that's one I think a lot of honor view for both sides, but a lot to look forward to on how the rest of the season will go.
Yeah, and when we look back at that map stat or the map graphic right there, and we saw it was all very close except that first map where it was 0-2 in favor of Beagle Bus. But we have to go back and look at that and just say it wasn't a blowout like that one, like the scoreline would say a 2-0. It was, I believe, 9-9 to 9-9 on both points. And that second point is kind of an anomaly. Both teams decided to run hog for the majority of it. Only towards the end of it did we see a team get off of hog and go over to the Diva, and that was Beagle Bus. Probably one of the main reasons they ended up winning that specific point and map. But this entire series was so closely competitive here. But we're going to throw it to a quick break. And we'll be right back with an interview with Valentine, I believe, from Beagle Bus. So everyone, stick around for that. All right, welcome back everybody to the booth. We are pleased to be joined by one of the DPS members from Beagle Bus, Valentine. Hey, congratulations on the series. A couple of questions is, how do you feel about the win? And I want to know what the overall feeling was from your team when Dinx's mouse died in that final map.
Feeling pretty good. Honestly, a little disappointed. Felt like we should have done a bit better, but a win is a win. Low-key, Dink's mouse dying was actually a pretty good mental reset, and like it kind of helped, like just everyone chill out on Dorado. I felt like, and it just made it easier for everyone to like lock in for like those overtime fights. But yeah.
So I gotta ask, maybe one of the most pivotal fights of the entire series was that final one, right? Where it's about 15, 20 seconds to go. They're pushing up. Was it a call like, hey, let's play aggressive? Was it just something off a first pick that you guys were wanting to go in on? What was the thought process through that final engagement?
Yeah, so I think I was just playing cart, and then we saw them walking up, and we got killed, and I was on the Juno, and the Juno died, and it was just like, they have so little time left, like, just kill them now, and then get a stagger, so it's just like their tracer touching. Just like, go all in and risk it, because even if some of us die there, I think we get another touch, so it's just like 2 fights in 1. So I think it's better that way, and an unfair fight for them going into that last, 10 seconds.
And it worked, man. Like, it worked.
Yeah.
Like, what a way to end it. And I gotta ask, one of the most chaotic series we've ever seen. That was... How did you guys try and counteract the Reinhardt? Because obviously a normal Reinhardt's one thing. The Glacier Reinhardt we learned tonight is something completely different. How did you guys slowly adapt your play to try and counter that throughout the evening?
I feel like as we got used to it, it got a little easier. Like the first 2 maps, I felt like that guy could just like, or like the first like 3 maps really, he just pressed shift and then like something would happen. You know what I mean? Like he'd get a kill like randomly. Dinks would get knocked off the map. Like that happened like 3 times on Throne of Anubis, or Dinks just got shifted off the map. It was unreal. But honestly, once we kind of like, I felt like on Coliseum especially, we started to get the hang of it more. It was just that map we just got unlucky, but we started kiting better and like just like being able to spread and not give them easy picks.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys didn't play in the midseason tournament, had to forfeit your 1 game, but you guys are now still undefeated in regular season play here. I imagine this does help you a lot in the last half of the season here, but because you guys missed this, was this a good showing for you guys tonight? And just to kind of make sure that every other team here in this tier understands that you guys are still very much a threat.
I honestly think we should have 3-0'd them. I low-key was not expecting them to be as good at that comp as they were. Like, I know there were 1-tricks of like that rush comp, but they were actually pretty solid on it, and we honestly were just like less coordinated than we normally are. And I think if we played them again, we would probably have, it probably would have been like 3-1, 3-0.
Fair enough.
All right. Yeah, fair enough, man. But hey, Valentine, before we let you go for the night, we're going to give you the floor right now to shout out anyone or anything you want, man.
Shout out Ricky. Ricky's the GOAT. The captain of the team. He's the head of the octopus, I would say. Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, thank you so much for taking time out of your night to do this interview. We will let you go back and enjoy this victory with the rest of your team, man. Again, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, Jesse. I mean, this was an incredible series here tonight. Very, very closely contested between these 2 teams. And I mean, I do see where Valentine is coming from there. It did seem like this Beagle Bus squad was a little bit sloppy at times. We could go look at some mistakes they made in the early part of this series that definitely did give Franklin Phoenix a lot of momentum. But I still think you have to be on the lookout for this Franklin Phoenix squad.
Yeah, I will say it definitely wasn't the cleanest day for Beagle Bus. And, Valentine admitted that. Like, if they play again, he thinks it could be a 3-0, a 3-1. And I think depending on the map pool, I think map pool is a big thing for that. But I think, it could have went that direction. There was very small moments that decided this series. But I also think on the flip side, this could have easily been a Phoenix 3-2, right? Like, if that fight goes any different, if they pop Kitsune Rush early, we're maybe talking to somebody else right now. So it is a wild thought. But I do think each of these teams, they showed a lot tonight. They showed what they can do. I think they showed a lot of this tier, what they can do, and they got put on notice. Like, hey, these teams, even though, Franklin Phoenix is a ride 1-trick team for the most part, they can push you and push you to the brink. So fair play, man. Both these teams. I want to see this more. I want to see this again and again on a repeat, these kind of games, because that was insane.
Yeah, I think this Franklin Phoenix team really did put themselves on the map here after this one, but still, Beagle Bus, I still do think they are that team that everyone really needs to be watching out for. We did miss out on them in the midseason playoffs because they probably had some other obligations they had to do that day of their first round game, but I don't think this is a team that you can just forget about. They are this good of a team and very well known in CGL for a reason. And yeah, there are some other teams that have risen to the top in this tier, but I still think you have to kind of put them at the same level or even still a little bit behind Beagle Bus, because when Beagle Bus is playing at 100%, they might be a team that is unbeatable here.
Yeah, when they're at their best, Beagle Bus is one of the best teams in this tier. Like obviously, yeah, you have Nightmare Rotation, you got a few other teams that are definitely in the mix, and obviously Nightmare Rotation won the mid-season tournament. But I wouldn't be surprised, especially if meta continue leaning towards the way of Beagle Bus, if they can figure out this Brig Juno a little bit more. They're a team to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, that will do it for us here in the booth. We are going to throw it back over to the desk for them to wrap it up for the night. So we're going to be throwing it back to Sam, Spectrion, Joker, and Ray to end up the night. See you guys next time, because this, Jesse, was an incredible series. I don't think any of us will ever forget.
No.
Thank you to our casters, Dexatron and Twin Salty, for that masterful casting of the game. I would probably say the greatest game of NA that we have had so far. Spectrion, this was, from start to finish, I think Jesse mentioned it at some point, pure cinema.
Oh yeah, it was so chaotic. There was so much action going back and forth. I think I got to agree with what Valentine was saying in the interview. It was really sloppy at a lot of points. You know, you cast your mind back to Throne of Anubis, especially where we've got these fights going on for it feels like 2-3 minutes consistently. You know, that's not necessarily teams executing perfectly, cleanly, but it absolutely does mean this is entertaining as hell. There's no two ways about it. This game had everything. Weird comps, really great macro moments, pretty terrible macro moments, and individual pop-offs, as we might get to in a little bit. Just the full shebang of Overwatch entertainment.
Yeah, so my predictions were wrong. Joker, congratulations to you and Ray, by the way, for being 3-2 on the dot with Beagle Bus. But it had to come down to the literal final few meters of the final map to determine our victor. And I don't think anyone is going to be walking away sad about any predictions.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, hey, that's why, I mean, the DPS duo of Energy and Valentine just kind of were the GOATs. They played like Prime, I don't know, Proper and Prophet, right? And they just were insane in that last 2 minutes of Dorado, and they were the reasons why they won that map.
Ray, again, congratulations to you, buddy, right? 3-2 on the nose, but even still, this 3-2, 3-2 is already close, but it feels closer than that. And to go back to a point that you just made, right, Spectrum, we're looking at the play of the game, or we're looking at the replays, the highlights, right? And there's just so many options to choose from. It has been a smorgasbord of footage that we get to sift through and that we get to watch all over again.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Valentine, I think, was first in my mind for just, like, insane plays. There were more than a couple multi-kills on Genji with these Dragon Blades. Of course, there was that final Tracer 3K to actually stabilize and, in my opinion, win them the map and the series on Dorado. But as well, like, Glacier on the other side of things was doing, frankly, like, unserious things on the Reinhardt I think it was 6 attempts to pin Dinks off the map on Orisa on Throne of Anubis. And he got it, 3 times out of the 6, which is realistically 3 times more than you bloody well should into an Orisa.
I mean, we just saw it right there in the replay,
Yeah,
right?
it's just none of this stuff should happen. I think the thing that I most remember though is on the Hollywood, where he runs all the way onto the elevator on the first point to pin the Orisa off high ground into like CCTV. Like, nobody is doing this. Nobody is doing it like him. I don't know. This series was just insane.
And we had been, right, Joker, talking a lot about this matchup, the new versus the old, the set compositions from Franklin Phoenix versus Beagle Bus, who can fit the mold to how they need to. But Franklin Phoenix, sure, we got to see a couple of looks out of them, but it was still mostly this Reinhardt composition with some differences here and there. But that Reinhardt was the centerpiece for this team, and it almost won. It was right there.
It was crazy. And like Spec said, Glacier was just insane. And then, full disclosure, I mean, if Franklin Phoenix, wins this match, we're talking about Glacier as the MVP instead of who we're going to be nominating as our MVP in a few short moments here.
Yeah, and Ray, this entire series, right? We were having the discussions, and there's so many different players that we could have picked from to have been our MVP. The one we did choose might not come as a surprise, though, at the end of the day, especially with what they accomplished to help get Beagle Bus over the finish line. But it's still, it still was just everything that we got out of this match was pure Overwatch. It was at its best, at its core.
Yeah, so many players had great pop-off moments. I didn't realize I was muted earlier, so I just want to give that shout out to Ricky once again. Had amazing plays on the Ana. But coming to Valentine, that series could have been over. Ricky gets the nano. Valentine gets, like 3 or 4. It was absolutely ridiculous, put in massive work. I mean, we'll see here in a few short moments who got our MVP, but there were a lot of players who did. I mean, even Vobendo had great pop-off moments on that Juno, and Dinks was also very flexible on the tank line.
Well, I do think that we should go ahead and talk about our series MVP. Of course, it is going to go to one of the players of Beagle Bus, and I don't think any of us here are going to be very much surprised by this one. It is none other than NRG. This DPS really embodied everything that Beagle Bus was and more. So many different moments, so many different plays were won by them. This is one of my favorite right here, right? 2 HP, Reinhardt, what do? You go and bonk him. You give him a little boop. But again, the big thing that sticks out in my mind, Joker, is the final couple of seconds on Dorado. Yeah. That Widowmaker that came in, boom.
The guy's nasty, right? I mean, we saw it on that the Coliseo clip as well. I mean, he just finds heads, and
yeah, I
mean, what more can you want when they have them on hit scan, right? It was just incredible stuff all around for Energy the entire series, and especially those Widowmaker pulls that just kind of helped them push them over the line.
And Ray, it wasn't even just the Widowmaker or the Ashe, but it was the Pharah, it was the Sojourn. It was so many different heroes and that this player can pull out of the toolbox, but not only use them masterfully.
Yeah, they played incredibly. I mean, I was just thinking back to Throne of Anubis on that Sojourn. They were just farming overclocks. It felt like they would use one, go crazy, and then by the time they were getting ready for like another drawn out fight on the next point, they had another one. Like, and we were literally like, Spectron is so. Like, we had to ask Spectron, wait, is Sojourn good again? And Spectron's like, I mean, she's okay, like in certain situations, but because NRG was doing that good on Sojourn.
And yeah, Spectron. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the regular Sojourn use case is, especially with the Lucio pocket, but generally being played against Brawl compositions against Reinhardt. You know, you can't really catch the Sojourn in the same way you can catch maybe a Cassidy, maybe a Soldier 76. You know, if Reinhardt pins you, you can just slide away, and we saw that plenty of times. But the amount of rail value that NRG was getting, that's not just inherent to the hero, that's just him playing out of his mind.
Exactly, and it's so easy, right, Spectron, to look at the DPS and give them the MVP, right? They're the ones with the flashy plays. They're the ones who can make a lot of that impact happen for the teams, right? Nothing, it looks cooler than a headshot. And NRG proved that. But they went beyond just the cool headshots. They embodied what a DPS should be and what the role is all about.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of impact frags. In terms of what you should be doing on the macro level, you know, what angles you should be marking, when you should be investing those ults. The decision making, I mean, we've said before, it wasn't perfect, but it was absolutely, like, the best in the lobby, I think it's fair to argue. You know, and, you know, you mentioned how impressive DPS could be earlier. I mean, we said as well that if we were looking at a victory for the other side, we'd be nominating Glacier pretty easily. Just NRG, in my opinion, was the stand-up player. I think I did say I did need to give a special shout-out to Valentine, because those multi-kills were generational, but I think the lack of consistency, not saying that by any means he was inconsistent, but just Energy was doing it more. So shout out to Valentine, but Energy, today you were just fantastic.
Yeah. It's like the differences of what 0.5% but when you're at that level, that 0.5% is everything, and it's the difference between the few meters to win a game, and that is what NRG just showed to all of us. So a big congratulations to them on their series MVP for this matchup against Franklin Phoenix, and yet again a massive congratulations to Beagle Bus 3-2ing their opponent. But that is going to be it for us tonight on the desk, but I do want to go ahead and roll through today's schedule real quick and see the matches that we did have on the docket for today, with Big Ballers and Everfrog earlier on over in the UK, or later in the evening, I guess. I don't know. And then tonight, obviously, Franklin Phoenix versus Beagle Bus. And I think we have the schedule for next week.
It's not necessarily to see it. It'll basically, we'll be returning next week. It'll be roughly around the same times, give or take an hour in each direction. It could be an hour earlier, an hour later for both of them, depending on the games we pick. But we will be right back here with, who knows if it's the exact same 4 beautiful faces, but there will be 4 beautiful faces.
There is someone that's going to be occupying the desk, and I gotta say, after being gone for 3 weeks, it has been a delight to sit here with you gentlemen yet again. So Spectrion, let's go ahead, grab some closing thoughts before we end the show. How you feeling, buddy?
It's a fantastic series, obviously. In terms of how everything ended up playing out, it's not how many people expected, you know, minus, I believe, Ray and a compatriot I've since forgotten. But I think it was just...
okay.
Yeah, I forgot about you, Sirius. Okay, but in all seriousness, though, it was just a series which... I mean, we said it would be close. We thought both series today would be close, and both series absolutely did give, but this one was just, for lack of a better word, Kino.
Ooh, I like that. Now, Joker, over to you, my friend. Final thoughts.
It was a fantastic series. I mean, it was just chaos, and I love chaos. And other than that, I mean, it was just fun to get back into the swing of things with SNO, and also go Yankees.
Oof. Okay. All right. We got the go Yankees at the very final second. Ray, any sports team shouting out, or any final thoughts that you want to give us?
No sports team shouting out, but I will, short bus stand over here. Very happy Beagle Bus gets the W. And I feel like I need to message Glacier Overwatch as a Reinhardt player. I need to figure out what is in his head to be able to do the things he does. Because I feel like I would take my game to the next level if I can figure out his processing and planning. But I feel like it might just be a him thing. I don't know if he can transfer it to anyone.
I made a comment when we were off stream that when they were on Dorado and you see Glacier on all of the rooftops, and I'm like, he gets onto roofs easier as Reinhardt than I do as a Winston. So I'm just like, it's an amazing thing to see skilled players being able to do what they do best. Spectrion, I believe you were about to say something as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just he's got that shift button just permabound down.
Oh yeah.
Hold it down. You know, back in Overwatch 1, we would say, oh yeah, just unbind your shift key. It's useless. Not in Overwatch 2. That ability is crazy useful. Just why not? It's gonna get you a kill. Apparently 9 times out of 10, especially if your name is Glacier.
I don't think it is bound to shift. I think it's actually bound to primary mouse fire. every second he's just throwing them off one after another. But like we're throwing off charges one after another, there is going to be another Saturday night Overwatch. So make sure you hit that follow button, get notifications to when we go live here on Twitch. That we also have a YouTube channel as well. All of the socials will be in the Twitch chat or wherever it needs to be. Make sure to come and join the Discord as well. A lot of action happening there. And of course, you get to see some of your favorite players and may get to interact with them. I do also want to say a big shout out, of course, to the gentlemen on the desk, Spectrion, Joker, and 2 Tryhard Ray. our casters, Time to Light, and Twin Salty, not Time to Light, by the way, Dexatron. I don't know why I mentioned TTL. Oof, gosh.
He was supposed to be here, but
that's gonna haunt my dreams. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the prod sheet. And
Dex is about
I
to
see his
hop in
little
and say something to you.
Yeah, I know. Dex is gonna fight me. I'm sorry, Dexatron, but you did phenomenal. So did Jesse, Twin Salty. You two were amazing. And of course, our behind-the-scenes staff, our production team who makes this possible, makes us look good, the replays, the observing, and everything. Hippie, June, RhinoVod, Little Joe, and Orange. You were all so phenomenal. And a big thank you to you, the audience, for watching, for whom without any of this, of course, would just be a moot point. And until the next Saturday night Overwatch, everyone, good night.